striking.
Welcome to the Loosely Related Podcast, episode 18, baby.
Hello.
We are back.
What's up?
We are back. We're
Welcome in.
slowly approaching episode 20, man. Could you believe we're almost at 20 at this
Episode-
point?
Your counting never ceases to amaze me.
It-
He
it
knows
does.
it's
I-
18,
yeah.
19, 20.
20.
I try to keep up with it.
You were
I'm
outstanding.
when we first started the show, I couldn't count past 10.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Right.
right.
But I know
We were-
that once we got
Well,
past,
that's we've all learned how to count because of this show. We've had to count our episodes.
yeah,
That's the whole
once
thing.
I got past 10, I was like, I better start learning how to count.
Yeah.
So I started studying, and
That's good.
I worked on it, and I think I'm
Good.
up to like 25 now. So I'm a little
Pretty
bit
good.
ahead of
Not
where we're
bad.
at in the
yeah,
podcast.
that's good. You want to be always a
So I got
little
like
bit ahead.
I got like 7, I think, right?
You planned ahead a little bit, yeah.
Yeah.
So I got like
Good.
7 more before I have to, go into like crash studying again.
Yeah, right. Yeah, crash course on counting
So
past
anyway,
25.
So anyway, here we're back on episode 17. It's Saturday.
I thought it was
18.
18. We just
I
learned
did
how
it
to
again.
count.
Yeah,
Counting's bad.
We just learned how to
Okay.
count. All right. Whatever
All right,
episode.
so I just got to 18. So
Yeah.
we
We get it.
But it's October 26th, Saturday. We're
Yay,
recording,
weekend.
and this episode is going to be released on the 29th, Tuesday. So
If you're watching
if
us
you're
on
watching it,
Tuesday,
this will be Tuesday
Hope
when
you
you
like
see
the
us. That'll be
episode
pretty
18.
cool, so- yeah. So I'm here with my cohorts, Rob, Joe,
Hey-o.
and Brian in the back. Hey, Brian.
Oh, actually, I'm Joey. You're Joe. Let's not forget that. Remember, we had to
Well,
cover this whole thing on
yeah,
that one episode.
We
were
don't
like,
want to confuse
Joe,
people,
Joey.
so yeah, it's
I
Joey.
confused myself, and I've known you both for a long time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we
every
always
now
get
and then.
confused. I confuse myself
Yeah.
a lot.
You do.
And I confuse a lot of people. A lot,
Had a
of
lot
other
of examples
people.
of that on our road trip this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna have some highlights from that.
We're gonna have
Yeah.
we're gonna have some highlights. We have a little special thing planned afterwards, right?
so-
and then we're gonna get a little bit of a heads up on that.
Yeah. So
You
we're
know?
gonna put those highlights after, before, or just during, or what are we going to separately? What do you think? we'll do,
Separately.
Brian?
I
Separately.
do a separate video,
Yeah. Okay.
All right, cool.
Brian's a
So-
social media guy.
A
so we just
YouTube
let him-
special, maybe even social media stuff.
Yes,
I don't
that's-
know.
yes.
All right, good, man.
That all
So
sounds
We'll
good.
figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll want to check that out, and we got some great shows coming up this week. We got our Halloween episode coming out on Thursday,
Spooky.
the 31st. Of course, Halloween is going to release 7 o'clock in the morning on Halloween, and it's going to be a great
Yeah,
show.
An
We're
early
gonna have-
treat for them.
We're going to
Yeah.
be here with our costumes on. We're going to
Yep.
deck out the studio for everybody to see, and it's going to be pretty neat.
There you go.
Yay.
Yeah, it's going to be cool, so you have to definitely check that one
Yeah,
out,
it should be
especially for
awesome.
Halloween.
I think it's gonna be great. Yeah.
All right, so yeah, so how you guys doing? Anything new in you guys' life?
Not too much, man. Doing all right. You
Yeah,
know, I'm just
same old.
watching. Had to watch the. We didn't really talk about it, but briefly, I want to mention we had to watch the Yankees lose the World
Yeah.
Series.
Yeah.
Not even get to the
yeah.
World Series.
Such a disappointing
rough.
ninth
So-
inning.
It's
Yeah.
rough. It's rough.
Conference.
So out of all of us, I know, me and we used to be bigger Yankee fans. I think rightfully so.
Probably.
Brian
Yeah.
is.
We followed it
but
more, I think.
Brian is diehard Yankee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I mean, like it's so I can't even imagine what that was like for you, Brian.
It was like having your highest high and your lowest low happen in 20 minutes.
Yeah.
I was losing my shit when DJ LeMahieu tied the game with a 2-run home
Yeah.
run, and then I lost it again in the worst way possible.
possible
When
Right.
Jose
With the walk-off.
Altuve hit a 2-1 home run.
Off of a Aroldis Chapman.
Yeah.
You
who's
give it, then you
the
take
best
it
closer.
away.
Walk off
Yeah.
home run in the top of the
Yeah.
bottom of the ninth.
Bottom of the
Bottom of the
ninth
ninth.
against like
I
the
mean,
best closer in baseball.
That's what's so
arguably.
great about baseball and being passionate about sports is that you do feel the highest highs and the lowest lows. And
Yes.
people who don't like sports, they always act like you're like sports, you could be like baseball.
Yeah.
But you know what else? They're passionate about stuff. They get like that about movies or about
Yeah.
plays or music.
Sure.
So no, I totally get it. Adds to your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so-
besides that, that's pretty much just.
and they went on to
So-
play
Do you guys all hope?
Washington, and they're
Right.
getting beat up bad.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
Nationals
It's
are
nice.
up 2-1. It's like revenge, right? Even though we're not
Revenge.
Nationals
Yeah.
fans, right? But we're like, yeah, got them. All of a sudden, I'm going to be wearing a Nats hat on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, man.
Yeah, we would, because they'd be pissed as a Yankee fan getting beat up like that.
Of
I thought
course.
the Yankees might win. I know everyone was
Yeah.
saying
Yeah.
Astros, but
Yeah, because the pitching.
their pitching is really
Yeah.
good. You know,
But especially after the first game, it looked like the
Yeah.
Yankees were going to be
might
able
have a
to.
chance,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
coming
Yeah.
back home. I thought
Yeah.
they, could grab
Exactly.
They could have won
games
the
there.
second game, even.
Yeah.
But their offense got shut out.
The
Yeah.
offense got shut
Yeah,
out.
they did. They
wrecked.
got shut down, which is amazing that when you look at that 1 through 9, it's like
Yeah.
every single one of them can hit.
It's unbelievable,
Yeah.
man.
So, like,
it's
it's
they're a
Yeah.
dynasty. I'm saying they're like the Golden State Warriors of baseball. Like not like maybe not so much now because Kevin
Yeah.
Durant's gone and they lost half their
But
team.
they're
And all that,
highlights
but
in the last 5
at that
years.
point, yeah. But
Sure.
anyway, but I wanted to ask you: do you remember when was the first? Because the Yankees have so many World Series. When was the first year that you remember the Yankees winning a World Series?
Wonder why.
Like your first like memory of like, oh, the Yankees won the World Series. Like,
Well,
like talking about it.
I'd have to say that when I grew up, my family were Yankee fans,
Right.
Giants fans,
Yeah.
Knicks
Yeah,
fans.
same here.
Big,
Yeah.
like huge. I wasn't a big sports fan when I was a kid, actually, but when I got a little older, in my teens and late teens, I started watching the Yankees more then, and I think it was with Roy White and God, he was the coach of the Yankees for a little. Phil,
Rizzuto?
no,
No.
not that
No.
far back.
See, I don't.
I
And
can't
yeah,
remember
he was
that.
their announcer for a long time.
Roy White, Thurman
The
Munson, I think, was on the
Oh,
team.
yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, those guys.
Because wasn't
Back
like the
in the
80s
70s.
Yankees wasn't
They
considered
stunk.
like a,
It
they
was-
weren't good. Like,
the
No,
late
I watched them
70s, I
all
think it
through.
was
They won in 78.
78, 79
Oh,
too,
wow,
I
it's your
think,
birthday,
right? Wasn't
Rob.
it double?
Yeah.
Didn't
Or
they hit
birth year.
They won in 78. I think they went back to back. I don't know if they
Yeah,
won
I think it
both
was
years,
79, 78,
78.
79, I think they won.
And then through the 80s, they stunk. That's Dave Winfield era.
yeah.
That
And
sucks,
then
man.
Jeter comes in the early 90s, and we become a dynasty in 96.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yep. And then we had won a bunch from then. But
Yeah.
76,
Yeah.
78, I think was the first
Okay,
one I
that makes
actually
sense.
remember.
Because I figured I know like we like.
I think it might have been, check me on it, in 78, did
Yeah, if
they
you wanna
win?
look that
They
up.
definitely won in 78.
They
that
went-
I'm sure of.
Yeah,
They beat
Yeah.
the
79.
They
We're
won
not
in my
sure
year.
if
I
they
remember,
won.
was it Dodgers?
Dodgers. Were the Dodgers still in Brooklyn then at that time?
No,
right?
no.
Dude, I see.
No.
I'm so bad with that stuff.
No, they weren't.
Joe
It might have
Yeah,
been the
78 was the Yankees one, and I want to say it was against the Dodgers because I think the Dodgers won the next year.
Okay.
Dodgers. Yeah.
Oh,
okay. that could
okay.
be.
I see what you're
So
saying.
check that out for me. But yeah, that
Yeah.
was
But it got
78.
me thinking because I know like you know like what we're gonna talk about in a minute got me thinking about
Yeah,
like,
no,
the
that was
different
kind of a-
generations of sports.
that was
right?
a
Like
right.
you know, it got me talking
a
about it, thinking
transition
about
because
that.
I was thinking during the week what would be a good thing to talk about, and I think it would be. I think it's kind of interesting. I think you guys will like it, and we're going to talk about our own little
Right.
spots here
Yeah,
because you
right.
guys already know what we're going to talk about. So,
Mostly, but
but I thought it was cool to find out what kind of like things were happening on the day we were born. Like, what was the year we were
Yeah,
born?
year we
I
were
was born in
born.
'63. What were the cool things that happened? What
Make
was
sure
best
you tell them the
technology?
century.
yeah,
Yeah,
the century, right?
Yeah, it's 1963.
1963, okay,
but
just
it was
The 19th
it was-
century.
no, it was
19th
1963 in the first world, not the second world. Like,
Oh, right.
the world
yes,
got
yeah.
destroyed by
right,
it,
right,
and
right.
then
Well, there was that asteroid that killed like
all the
most of your
dinosaurs and stuff.
family. Yeah,
Yeah.
right.
that was back in that. I survived.
Right, yeah.
I'm a
right.
survivor.
Yeah.
But it was
Well, you hit with all the
1963
cockroaches.
in the first generation world. And this is the second generation.
Right,
I think
right,
this is
right.
the second
This
generation.
is before.
world.
This is before. This is Pangea, right?
Yes.
This is Pangea.
Yeah. So
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. So,
So
you know,
there's
because I
a
knew
lot-
you had mentioned that, and like I was so, like I know it wasn't really my birth year, but like my generation was like the '90s.
you
like
could talk
the,
about
but
what
like
you think.
the
and I think
Yankees of the '90s were like the Yankees. Like that was like the Derek Jeter when they
Oh
like they
my
went on
gosh.
that tear.
Sure,
like
sure.
that was
Yeah,
like my
everybody.
that was the Yankees that like I remember. That's like what made me a Yankees fan watching like 96, 97, 98, 99. You know, and all that.
Absolutely,
And it's
yeah.
yeah, man. So
So like you don't even have to. I have some things listed here in
You
the
do?
notes. 'Cause
Okay,
you
what do
guys
you
don't have
got?
to go with that. If we're going, you can read off a couple of them. But if there's things in your generation you think pretty cool, like what was the first thing you remember? Like the biggest technology, of your generation that you remember that was like changed
Ooh,
things.
I already got it. Yeah,
You
go
know
ahead.
what I mean?
Yeah,
or
yeah, yeah.
what was
Moon
the biggest?
shoes.
Moon shoes. Yeah, there we
Yeah.
go. Wheelies. Get the wheelies.
Oh my God, remember
wheelies?
No wheelies in the mall.
Yeah.
Or the biggest event, the biggest news story
Sure.
of the year, or whatever.
Okay,
of
that's
your
yeah, that's
generation.
that's really
I
cool.
think it'd be interesting.
Yeah,
So,
no, I think it's awesome.
I've seen obviously a lot more to you guys. I've grown up since the 63.
Well, almost all of the time.
Almost all
of
the time.
yeah.
So I've seen how
This is Father
man
Time's younger brother.
yeah.
has gone from fire and stone and cave drawings
to flying
to
in the air.
flying
Yeah.
and talking remotely on devices,
FaceTime.
FaceTime.
Yeah.
And
If
keeping
you
in touch
could
with
go
one
back to when you were younger, what would you have said to the Wright brothers that you regret not having said to them?
another. What would I regret not
Saying-
saying to them that I?
Don't offer vegetarian options for an in-flight meal. That's what I would
Yes.
say. I'd make sure
How
they
about
do
we get
that.
more than 6 peanuts in the future? Get more than 6 peanuts.
Yeah,
Yes,
seriously.
yes.
Stop offering the little stupid. Like, I love that they give you. I haven't been on a plane in a while, but it wasn't that long ago. But they give you like a little bottle, like when you order an alcoholic beverage, they give you
Oh,
like
yeah.
one of those little
Yeah, the
like
little
the
one, the
nip
little
bottles.
mini ones.
They
How
give you
about
like
like
a
an ounce and
hotel,
a half
but
or
it's
something
like
like
it's
that?
like,
Yeah, about an
but
ounce and a
you
half,
figure
I
it out. It actually technically is less alcohol. Yeah, it's like an ounce and a
Ounce and
half,
a
and
half.
typically it's supposed to be like I guess
Two
like
ounces.
I'm not a
ounces.
bartender.
Yeah.
But it's supposed to be like two
What?
like two
You've
ounces. or- it's
bartended
just
plenty
well,
around here, buddy.
I have.
Considering how
I-
much we
let's-
drink,
yeah,
you really
let's-
should be a
I
bartender.
know.
Yeah, really.
I know.
You got that on the job training.
Yeah. He's got the experience.
Yeah.
Yes, he makes some good drinks.
But that's a great idea for a topic, though. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, so like I'll
like-
start with mine since
Yeah.
mine's the oldest, and I just sort of wrote down a couple of things.
We
and,
figured
Yeah.
that out.
and if things pop in your mind, just talk about them. I don't care. I think it'd be fun.
Yeah.
And even Brian, you could when you get to the '90s area, if you think of
Yeah.
something that was cool
Yeah.
in your time, jump right in and let us know what
Moon
was
shoes.
like the big
Moon
moon
shoes. It was that moon shoes.
All right, moon shoes. Wasn't there? But didn't women wear moon shoes?
I don't
Weren't
even
they
know.
those
I
big
have no
black? They
idea.
were actually.
I'm honestly, we got to put a picture of them up on the video
Yeah, I
because
think-
I forgot what they are.
Unless
I don't know what they
unless
are.
I'm
think
thinking
it was
of
the
something
time
different.
boots
Maybe
or
they're
something.
just platform shoes, but I
Yeah,
think
that's
they
what
used
I
to
thought.
call
They
them
are.
moon
Yeah.
shoes or something
I
like
thought
that.
so. I thought they were like platform shoes, but like with a boot. That
Well,
Yeah.
no, they're the anti-gravity shoes.
Oh, you
that
were-
you,
Oh,
that
the
you- that
moon
He
you-
is literally
shoes. Actually,
talking about
literally
it.
moon.
Yeah.
Literal.
That's
you
what originally
bounce
what I
on.
thought you were talking about
Oh.
because I was thinking of moon landings. And
Unfortunately, I
also
think
Yeah.
that happened more in my day because I remember during my time the moon landing.
Right. Okay.
When I was a kid. in
right, that's what I
69
think he was
when
talking
it
about
came out.
originally.
Yeah.
And I was young, but I do remember sitting in front of my
Do
black
you?
and white television
Oh, that's
watching
awesome.
it. Yes.
That's wow. Really? That's
Yeah, oh, yeah.
that's
Yeah, it was
that's
the big thing
awesome.
everybody
Well, he
watched
did
it.
tell us his nickname was like Dodo the astronaut or something. What was his
Remember,
name?
remember your
Yeah.
story
Oh,
from that
yeah, it was
show?
Dodo, and I said Dodo, the kid from outer space, and I
Yeah.
realized now they were saying Dodo, not JoJo.
Dodo, not JoJo. Right.
Oh my
So,
god.
but I
Flashback.
hated it when they called me Dodo because they used to
Yeah.
call me JoJo. Well, I think that what they did is they changed it from JoJo, the kid from Dodo to JoJo, and he
Yeah.
said JoJo, the kid from outer space. And
Right.
It used to drive me
Yeah,
nuts.
well,
And that's
That was
why-
some clever wordplay.
Look at
Yeah,
that. That's,
it
that's,
was.
Make sure you
it was
explain
very
it to everybody out there.
very creative stuff.
very creative.
All right.
But anyway,
So
like,
what? So what are you going to chat about? Your technologies?
so
over
like the name of this segment is
Okay.
The name of the segment is what is the name of this
I
segment?
put,
The
there we
name of
go.
the
Got the
segment
name of the
is-
segment.
That's it.
When I
What
was
is the name of the
born-
segment?
When you were born.
When I was born in 1963, here's some of the cool things that happened. It was
Okay,
maybe
1963.
it's kind of interesting things more than cool things. But in 1963, AT&T introduced the first touch-tone service, the first touch-tone phone. So back in our day, like you have the push buttons. You don't have them anymore because you don't even have phones in your house.
You
Yeah,
can't
rotary,
find them
right?
anywhere.
Yeah, we used
Rotary.
to have rotary phones.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
you pull it, and it's funny because I watched the video on YouTube one time,
Mm-hmm.
and they had these two young kids, and the parents brought one of those old rotary phones to their house, and
Yeah.
they put it in front of the table, and they said, "Tell me how you use
Oh, I
it."
seen that. Yeah.
You guys
Yeah,
may have
yeah.
seen it out there.
Yeah.
They couldn't figure out how to make a phone call, how you're supposed to do it. They
I know.
could not figure out how to do
Yeah,
Yeah,
it.
and they weren't like young kids either. Weren't they? Like the kid was like
They were
13.
like, they were like
something
16,
like that.
17,
Yeah.
something like that.
He had
And,
no idea. They were like
they
12 or
had
13. It was
no
like crazy. They could not
clues.
figure it out. So funny.
So they went from those the touch tone, the dial
rotary.
phones, the rotary phones, to they had push buttons. It was like buttons on
Yeah.
the phone,
Literal
but it wasn't.
buttons,
It was
yeah.
button you
Yeah.
pushed in and went doop 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 whatever, and that was like that's okay. So that's in '63. They
In
came out with that.
'63, yeah. The only place I remember ever having that, we never had one of those. I remember Grandma's house had that on the wall.
Oh,
They
yeah,
had
you
the
know,
one
they
on the
did.
wall. You
They
took
had
it
the
off.
touch-
And yeah.
yeah.
That was the only time I
Yeah.
ever seen it. And
We were
ever
younger.
since
We
then-
had the wireless one.
Yeah.
It's like 900 hertz. And
Yeah.
you're like, ooh.
Yeah, see,
And it had
that's-
the metal antenna that you had to like pull out and pull
Yeah.
out for like a half hour.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And
yeah,
I remember once we were playing ball or frisbee or some stupid crap in the house, and we broke the antenna off, or whatever. It
And
got
that-
bent.
that always
And my
happens.
parents were like, well, they just wanted to scare us. So they were like, wait till my mom was like, wait till your dad comes home. You're never gonna be able to afford this. We had to go to Radio Shack. It was like $3.
Oh,
Yeah, when
really?
you-
that's pretty funny.
When you broke off that antenna, you had to, in order
It was
to
so
get.
crap.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but in order to get service now, you had to like stand right next to the base station. With
Yeah,
the phone.
you had no range.
You had no range on it.
I remember how
anymore.
many
So
times you'll
funny.
pick up everything because we lived in an apartment
Oh,
building in
you
the Bronx.
pick up other people.
You're picking
Oh.
up baby monitors, other conversations.
Yeah.
You're like, who's Frank?
wait.
Put-
Frank, wait.
Where's Jen?
What,
You're like,
what-
we're talking
guys,
to other
what's,
people.
What's Watergate?
Yeah.
What's Watergate?
You're
That's the
getting in on
first-
it.
yeah.
That's
We
the first
found the
time
tapes.
we talked about in the last episode about my neighbor Beep,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
she would have the same phone as us, and I thought she was eavesdropping on us again because I'd have conversations. All of a sudden, she'd be on the
Oh.
phone with
She
us.
probably was.
I actually do remember that. That's pretty funny.
Yeah, definitely
That's
beep that out because
hilarious.
anybody cares about.
Yeah,
exactly.
so if you watch
That's
the
another
last
bleep
episode-
right there.
Yeah, right.
I'm
Bleeps,
not
just-
bleeping that.
bleeps
You're
on top of
bleeping it out.
bleeps.
We know
episode-
you're out there still watching.
Our last episode was the bleep episode.
bleep.
We changed the name to the bleep episode.
So that's
So-
pretty cool. So,
Yeah, so no,
alright.
like they the first time zip codes were introduced.
I
was in
saw that and I was like, just stop
Wow.
kidding. I never even thought like zip.
I was like, you never.
You were alive when they came out with zip codes.
When that year
That
I was
seemed-
born.
But that's weird. But
Yeah.
they
What were
waited
they
to
doing
the
before
60s?
that?
Yeah.
Section 1. Right.
Well,
153. You're in section 4,527.
Look at how long
How
it-
did they split up areas?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the government for you. They finally figured out, maybe we put zip codes. We can break things down a little easier.
Well, the zip codes were introduced for the mail. Like I
no,
remember
yeah.
that.
How
were
did they
obviously
deliver 'em
introduced.
before that?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They
Like,
didn't
how
have
did they
to-
Here's
figure
your
that out?
route. You got all the way down to Jimmy's door.
Yeah,
And
right.
all the way up to the baseball field.
There you go.
Yeah,
There you go. You
probably,
got,
they probably
yeah.
did something similar to that. I bet. I
Yeah.
bet you they did.
You get all the McDonald's in the area, and you get all the WalMarts in the area.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, you get old buildings this big with 3-bedroom houses.
Yeah.
You get all the mansions.
That's
or
so
whatever.
weird.
Unless the door is
60s.
red, then don't go to that house.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first prototype Learjet took off, and they're
Learjet?
the Learjet. Yeah.
Learjet?
Learjet.
Learjet.
that's the-
Learjet. Yeah.
What's a
Learjet was
Learjet?
a commercial passenger jetliner. That
Oh,
was,
okay.
I think it was an English jetliner, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
I don't know why you're looking at me like
I
Yeah,
think
he's like, Rob, you were there.
think
You were
I
in
Lockheed
was
Martin made-
Canadian
I
owned.
am
Oh,
big
was
time
Canadian
into
owned?
the
Canadian.
aerial.
Kind of the same
No.
thing.
It is kind of the same thing, actually.
I am
yeah.
kind of a space genius.
You
what
are.
the hell
yes.
do I know about
Well, you
this
did. You
airline?
did spend multiple years in London. You
Yes,
lived in
that's
London.
true.
So they were
abroad.
what do you call something that goes fast and speed of sound or mock planes?
Oh,
breaks the sound barrier.
yeah, I can't remember, but
Mach.
anyway, it was
Yeah,
a jet.
Mach.
It was a jet
Supersonic,
plane. It was
supersonic,
supersonic,
supersonic.
plane.
Look at that.
Mach
Supersonic
speeds and
commercial
shit, yeah.
airliner planes.
Yeah.
They would cross the Atlantic in like, I don't know. I'm going to say like an hour and a half, 2 hours.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I think I remember hearing
it on
about
me,
this.
Brian,
But
if you want.
weren't these like super dangerous? Didn't these things like?
No, they were just
no?
super freaking loud. People used to complain about that. They used to
Because
have
they break the
protests
sound
because
barrier.
because over airports they were so freaking loud. People
Yeah.
were getting pissed. They didn't want when Kennedy and I think LaGuardia started to have them.
Yeah.
They were protests. They were
Oh
like,
wow, really?
not like protests, but
They're
people
like,
did
I don't
not
want to get
them
anywhere
there
on time.
Yeah, exactly.
because
Well,
they
not
were
at the
so
cost of this loudness.
yeah. They were so loud supposedly, and I never heard one.
These
but,
planes will never take off, literally and figuratively. We will
Yeah.
go back to the horse. They're quiet.
but I can imagine that they're really loud because
Yeah.
we have the airport over here, and sometimes they do those air shows.
I
yeah.
would think-
Oh yeah.
and-
We were talking about
Yeah.
it the one
Oh, they're
episode.
crazy.
Yeah.
And the one time I was
Yeah, we
at
heard it
s-
here.
Yeah.
We heard it
Well, I
over
remember
here.
one day I was out here, and believe it or not, they had one of those stealth fighters.
Yeah. No, I've seen.
I was
it. I've seen
standing
that guy.
outside,
Yeah,
and the
yeah.
thing flew overhead,
Yeah.
and it wasn't that high up. And it was
do you
it was
call it?
literally vibrating the windows of
Yeah.
the house. It was
yeah.
so loud.
Those are pretty, like slow. I feel like I remember that day.
Yeah, they're not.
Yeah.
They're supersonic, but they're not super fast.
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I mean, like technically, the whole thing for
They're
us is that.
supersonic, but not super
No, they're not
fast.
like they don't go like Mach 6 or whatever.
They go like
They're
40,
not
50
like-
miles an hour
They're like,
downhill.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, they get good gas mileage though.
They
That's all the point.
they start
It's a
them off-
cost
they're-
benefit.
They can cross the
Cost
Atlantic in like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's
and
crazy
normal
shit.
normal flight time is what 8? 9?
That sounds about right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Kristen
over
flew to
an hour.
England. I think she said it's about an 8-hour flight.
Yeah, so it saves a lot. It saved a lot of time.
Yeah.
And whatnot. But yeah, so like some of the best movies in my day were
Oh, yeah, this is
when I
good.
was
I wanna
born.
hear
Not
this.
necessarily in my day because these were not.
Well, when
necessarily-
you
I
say
liked these
best movies, these were popular movies or
these
your
were popular
favorites?
movies of that year. Not necessarily. I liked all the movies that actually listed.
That's
here.
pretty cool.
And I'll mention them all because there's only 4 or 5 of them. The Longest Day, which I still
That came
watch.
out the year you were alive. There's only 5 movies came out that year.
No, these
They
are the
were
most
still
pop-
working on film production.
They were still working on
How do we
color.
turn this over?
These were all
moving
black and white
pictures.
ones.
These
I
was
think,
all-
right?
They got this
These were
newfangled
hand-drawn.
thing called talking pictures.
Talking pictures. We got talking pictures.
Holy
But,
moly, get the press.
That
That
was
was
the
lo-
30s.
That was back when they still talked like, "Hey, see, yeah."
See? So longest anyway, so they had The Longest Day, which I think was colorized. It must
I
have,
feel
must
like
have been
that's
Technicolor.
today.
I think it might have been Technicolor.
I
Yes.
the longest day wasn't black and white. You don't
It
think?
was
No,
black
no,
and
no.
white.
I
It
think
was.
I think it was black
I
and
feel
white.
like
yeah,
this
yeah,
is the longest day.
Are
yeah.
you sure it was black and white? Because I almost
Yeah. Because I've seen it
No,
on
I'm
TV.
pretty
and
sure it
was
is. I'm
black
pretty
and
sure it's
white.
black
All
and
right,
white.
maybe
yeah.
I think you're
watched-
confusing yourself. You were in color. This was in black and
maybe
white.
I
Yeah.
watched. Maybe I watched the Ted Turner colorized version. Of
Yeah.
this.
Well,
Sure.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
remember that when they would like they would take old movies
do it
and
with,
then color them?
yeah.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I saw that they were like in Technicolor, right?
Yeah, Technicolor.
When they did that in Every Time a Bell Rings, the angel gets his wings.
Yeah.
Oh, that was
Oh,
The
no,
Wonderful
It's a
Life.
Wonderful
Wonderful
Life.
Life. I
Yeah.
remember in Technicolor, but our TV was still old and shitty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still looks like techno crap.
So they also had Lawrence of Arabia, which I've never.
That's a great movie. It's
They
one of-
say that's one of the best
best
movies, or
ever made.
considered
It's
the
like
best
one up-
movie that's ever made.
I'm sure some
people
people probably
don't.
do have it number 1, but I know it's like always like on like the top 10. Like AFI, American Film Institute, has their top 100. That's like up there. It's like in,
Yeah,
like,
I've
their top 10.
never. I don't think I've ever seen it.
I was
That's,
just
Peter
about to say
O'Toole.
if I ever saw it, I don't remember.
Yeah.
Really?
Now you
Yeah.
would remember it if you saw it, I'm sure.
I know I saw Ben Hur.
It's an epic. It's one of those. It's like a Ben Hur
Yeah,
epic.
right.
Yeah, it is like that. So
Yeah.
obviously World War One movie.
Yeah, and
I
it's an
remember.
interesting story because I
It's
actually
phenomenal
read the
story,
story
yeah, it's
about him.
incredible.
I think it was like Netflix or YouTube or something like that,
Yeah.
and it's a really fascinating story about the guy. So
Yeah.
Do you,
yeah,
you like
So
that
it's
movie?
great. Oh, it's a great movie. It's
I
unbelievable.
will have to
Peter
go back. I
O'Toole,
forget
he
about
was
it.
nominated for Best Actor for that movie. It's a really great
should
movie.
go back. And
Highly
watch that.
recommend you watch it. It's like it's
I
one
know,
of
I
those.
don't know, I always
It's
miss
one of
these
those
things.
movies where you just like if you kind of have to watch
You
it
have
if
to
you
watch
like
it
film.
first.
It's like The
Right.
Godfather. You have to watch that. You kind of
Right.
like a
It's that mandatory list.
you know like Apocalypse Now. Those kind of movies.
Yeah,
th-
yeah.
those things.
Yeah, that's
But
good.
yeah, that's awesome.
This one I didn't see either, but I know who the star of it was. I think
Yeah.
it was Marlon Brando. Mutiny
Okay.
on the Bounty.
What is it?
Mutiny on the Bounty.
Mutiny on the Bounty.
I think
I don't
it's-
even know what that is.
It's a true story about the mutiny
Brian,
on
you
the
want
Bounty.
to pull that shit up, Brian?
The
don't know.
Bounty
Story.
quicker picker
It's
upper.
about
The mutiny on the
They
Bounty.
were charging
They-
too
they-
much at Sam's
Yeah.
Club for Bounty paper towels, and they friggin' mutinied.
mutinied.
We're like,
Mutiny on the
we're
Bounty.
coming after you. First Area 51, and we're coming for you.
Yeah,
Or somebody just put too much mutiny on the Bounty.
yeah,
Yes.
that's what it was. All right, well, fair enough.
And one of my favorite movies that
Yeah?
when I was a kid it was required movie watching when I was
yeah,
a kid
I
to
remember
watch
this. And reading.
and reading.
There's that thing.
Yeah, the To Kill a Mockingbird.
Oh, okay.
Now that's
Yeah, no,
one.
that's stuck around forever. I mean, I had to read that in
Who's
high
the
school.
star of that? You know, who it is?
Everybody. Read
Yeah, it's Gregory Peck.
Good.
Obviously,
Death
is
of
the
a
actor.
Salesman.
Yeah,
We got to do all that.
yeah. Yep. I never did Death of a Salesman.
Brando
Sorry.
is in Mutiny on a Bounty.
Mutiny
think
on a
he's the
Bounty.
What I
Star.
don't get about him is just like he must have just been for his looks, right? He is a terrible actor.
They say
Marlon
they,
Brando?
They
You think he's
actually
a bad
consider-
actor?
They consider
Rob,
him to
he
be
is
one of the best actors
dude, I
ever.
completely disagree. He's a
actually
phenomenal
he's
actor.
actually considered
not
to be.
Marlon Brando.
Oh,
Your first.
Gregory
guess.
Peck?
No.
No. Wait, I'm completely lost.
I said Marlon Brando and Gregory Peck. Those are only two names I mentioned.
I
Oh
think
no,
so.
maybe
both
it was
great
him.
guys.
Yeah. From
I think
do
later
you
on.
think?
Marlon
he went
Brando from no.
The
on. He
Godfather.
was in
that's what I'm
Apocalypse
thinking
Now. He played the crazy guy in Apocalypse
of.
Now.
He's on the waterfront, right? That's
Yeah,
yes, that's him
yeah.
too.
Dude, no, you're insane, Rob. He's one of the
He
best ever.
slurs
He's
in every
amazing.
movie, saying "Yeah,
Bro,
Stella."
he ad libs like all his lines. You know, like all that stuff. He ad libs almost like
I
that
don't know,
famous
man.
that famous speech
never
on
did
the
it for me.
I
waterfront.
could
he
have been a whole
ad-libbed that whole thing.
contender.
on
Yeah,
the spot,
everybody
yeah.
knows that,
Yeah.
and that's how he sounds in every movie.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
certain-
does do that. But I
certain
just his
actors
I,
do that.
I think
He
he's
sounds like
phenomenal.
You know the
Sylvester
guy- the guy-
Stallone-ish.
I think he's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I know a lot of people say that.
Certain people.
Sorry to raise a controversy. I have my own opinion.
No, that's fine.
Dude,
but it's
listen,
I don't
it's
think
good.
he's a good
no,
actor.
It's
Please do.
good to have that. It's good to have it.
and then he
but
turned
I
into
think
the
he's
island of
amazing.
the world. That's him, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
God, did you see him towards his end of days over?
Oh,
there?
no,
Lord.
he's lost his mind.
He looks like a
since.
blob.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
But there's certain actors that do that. Like that guy who plays in what was it?
This is the episode where I sit around and wait for Rob and my
brain's
dad
here,
to
too.
think of the actors they're trying to name.
no.
That's what this is.
What was it? What the
I'm too old. now.
Will
I used to
Smith
be
and
all
the
into
aliens
this
come
stuff.
down. What was the name of that show? Where all the
Independence Day?
Independence Day.
Oh.
You know the guy who plays the
Oh,
advisor,
Jeff Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum.
I love Jeff
Yeah,
To
Goldblum.
me,
Goldblum.
Jeff Goldblum plays Jeff Goldblum
Right.
in
In every movie.
single
Pretty much.
He plays
acting
himself.
part
But I
he
love it.
ever
He
plays.
plays
I love
himself.
Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the same shtick.
Yeah,
It's
the same,
always
same
him.
guy in
It's
every
just
movie,
him.
Yeah.
You know, if you met him, he would
Whatever
you
works.
know
works.
where
I
he
don't
would.
really care about that.
Yeah,
He
people
does,
do love
you
him.
know.
You're so right.
So
I mean, he like won Oscars for Best Actor twice.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I just never.
he was considered by most people to be.
I can't make out what the hell he's
greatest
saying
male
half
actor
the
of all
time. Like,
He I mean he
What are
definitely
you
towards the
saying?
well like the whole thing was, I remember in The Godfather he literally took tissue paper and put it in his mouth to like
To
give
make
him
that,
that
like,
Yeah,
the-
to
give him
yeah.
that like that
An awfully kind of
real
fuse.
like
Yeah.
Yeah.
New York accent
I
kind of
got
thing
a
like that.
I got an offer you can't refuse.
Yeah, I'm gonna make
Yeah.
him an offer he can't refuse. Anyway,
Yeah, so then
that's
like
pretty
those
cool,
are pretty
man.
cool things, and you know there's cool people that were born in my year. Kenny, Big Kenny, I don't know who that is. Big and
from
Rich, I
Big
don't-
and Rich, they're a country band.
Tatum O'Neal, Michael Jordan, and
Michael
Johnny
Jordan's
Depp.
pretty cool,
I'm
man.
sure
I know
there's
that
many
guy.
others.
He's the famous
Yeah, I
hockey
heard-
player.
yeah,
He's a
heard
hockey
about
player.
him.
He's
the hockey
a
player.
famous polo.
polo player. He's a
No,
famous polo model for Polo Ralph Lauren model.
No, he does.
That's what
He's
does.
the polo boy for the English polo
I'm
team.
seeing it
Okay.
pop up.
All right. There you
So it's
go.
like a bat boy. It's the polo stick.
Polo
boy.
boy? Is that what they
Polo
call it?
stick
I don't
boy,
even know
yeah.
what they call that.
He holds
That's
all kinds of
pretty
records
cool.
in that. But yeah, there's some cool things on the technology in my year was kind of neat, I suppose.
Yeah.
The
we had-
updates are coming through, just so you know.
So yeah, I mean that was kind of neat. But anyway, that was kind of me. But if you want, we can go back to what was the coolest things. Like some of the coolest things at me was the moonwalk.
Yeah.
first moonwalk.
I think it
Oh,
makes
the-
more sense to just go.
I
through
thought you
what
meant
we
the Michael
like ourselves
Jackson.
personally. That's why.
That was the
'cause even for
moonwalk
me,
I
I
grew
was
up
gonna
with.
say,
Yeah,
like,
you had a moonwalk.
Michael
too.
Jackson moonwalk.
We're
I
going
see
back
a lot,
too.
so I'm not going to
Yeah.
go if
In
I spend it all
2020, I
on
think.
me.
yeah.
But Joe, you
Yeah.
want to tell about? We'll go to Rob.
Yeah, we'll go to Rob.
Next
We'll
one.
go around in the generations.
1978. Rob was born in the year
I was born.
1978, and here's some of the cool things that Rob kind of had in 1978.
Not that I got any of this stuff.
Yeah.
But, okay, so
Yeah.
the movies I guess were cool. The ones that Joe had looked up for us. Grease came out that year.
Yeah,
this
that's a
was a
big
big year for John Travolta, I guess. Saturday Night Fever came out that
Oh,
year.
wow, really?
Yeah, he was big. That was
Yeah,
like
he
right
must have
after
been enormous.
Welcome Back, Kotter. After that, it was like he got launched
Yep.
into all kinds of things.
Nice.
Vinny Barbarino.
He got
Peter
launched right into
Barbarino.
Scientology.
Close Encounters of the Third Kind, which
Ano-
I actually have not seen.
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
I've
That's,
seen
that's
that
Steven
movie.
Spielberg. It's
Another
pretty
John
good.
Travolta
Yeah.
thing, but that happened later on.
Jaws 2 I've seen. Heaven Can
What's
Wait
John
I've
Travolta?
seen.
I was trying to make a joke. It didn't work too well.
Oh, I'm sorry. Star Wars Episode 4 New Hope.
There you go.
Boom,
That's the
boom.
big one,
Yeah.
man. That's
I
what
still
I was gonna
think-
say.
okay,
I
now
saw
I
that,
know
like, that's
things-
awesome, man.
Dude, things are big. And this is going to actually tie real well into something else I'm going to talk about later. Oh, so sorry.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, so Revenge of the Pink Panther, I never got into those movies.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but Star Wars, I watched it a lot growing up with my family. You know, we had the original trilogy on VHS and all that. And I always thought, like, the whatchamacallit, the gun scenes and the fight scenes,
Yeah.
the special effects.
Yeah.
Sorry, I couldn't get that out.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
yeah.
all right. I know how it feels.
The special, I'm like really fading this, but I'm a little tired.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the special effect, I always thought they held up really well when I was a kid.
Yeah.
They looked awesome, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
man. It's
First time
pretty
it came out in
funny.
the late 70s and
Plus,
early
it
80s.
came
For
out in
like-
78, man. That's
for
a
like
big
Star
deal.
Wars
It's a lot
and
of
stuff,
stuff.
you're
Yeah.
The
talking
first,
about?
yeah,
It
episode
was
4, 5,
it
and
was
6.
It
The
was
only
like
thing that-
revolutionary.
When I
I
was
thought they were awesome.
But
Yeah.
even then, when I was a kid and I first watched, well, I wasn't a kid when it first came out. I was probably, I guess I was a kid, 16 or 17 when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I can't believe how bad the accuracy of the people with the ray guns.
Oh, the
stormtroopers.
stormtroopers.
Stormtroopers
Yeah, that's the
accuracy.
famous
It
thing.
was
That,
like-
yeah, they can't
They
hit
kicked this
anything.
broadside of
fighting
a
them,
barn.
They're shooting a laser gun that has like
That has a
pinpoint
tracer,
accuracy,
and you can see
and-
where it goes,
yeah,
but somehow
and
they
can't hit
miss
anything.
everything.
It's
I don't think they've
hilarious.
ever gotten any training. What are they doing all this time?
And they
sitting
never
around?
got any
Did
better.
you
They've
know
had
that-
9 movies so far.
Yeah.
They still haven't gotten any
Did
better.
you know that apparently?
You don't
so,
have
like,
to. What's a Jedi? You don't have, what's the Jedi's real
Yeah.
tricks? I mean, seriously, if you're a Jedi,
Yeah.
that just means that you can run through and beat up a bunch of Star Troopers. You can't shoot
I like
Jedi.
when now sometimes they hit him in the arm and they jump back like
Yeah,
15 feet.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they fly back.
The Wilhelm scream. That's where that came from. Yeah, man, that's freaking awesome. You know, it's so funny. All the like hardcore Star Wars nerds, they got so mad at people
We're probably
saying that.
getting them all mad.
They just started. They came up with an actual like explanation as to why the stormtroopers can't hit
Oh, my
anything.
gosh.
And it's this whole thing about how like, well, because technically all those stormtroopers served Anakin Skywalker, and secretly there was always a good part of Darth Vader that secretly taught that there was some kind of an innate teaching in all of the stormtroopers that you weren't supposed to shoot people. Like
I
you weren't
think-
like it's just insane.
I think it's better.
nuts.
It's more likely that since they were all clones, they were probably had a genetic defect where they were all colorblind and
Yeah.
couldn't see the color
Yeah.
blue coming
I
out of
could
their
see-
guns.
That's
it's
pretty funny.
crazy what hardcore fans will say.
Yeah.
Even if it's like, even if
That's
Star
the-
Wars comes out with a big piece of shit, like
Yeah.
they'll just
Like the
completely
first
defend
three?
it.
Yeah.
Or like the
Like a
Last
trilogy
Jedi.
of crap.
Well, even the most recent one, the Last Jedi, I thought was terrible, and they
See,
were
there's-
defending that like
Yeah.
crazy. So many people were.
There's so many
defending
things
it.
that I love, and I still criticize certain
Yeah,
things.
it's
about it. You don't
okay
have
to
say
demand
it's
more
perfect
from
your
because you
movies.
love it.
Absolutely, yeah, 100%.
But the last one, speaking about earlier, you were saying, Joey, about
Yeah.
like must-see war movies. The last one's The Deer Hunter. I've seen that. Many
oh, cool,
times.
nice, that's awesome.
So
man.
that came out then.
Good
I was-
shit, man.
I was just gonna skip ahead. As far as like big things, I would think of like were game changers, at least during my youth.
Yeah,
The Simpsons was huge as far as
Oh,
pop
nice.
culture. It's still going.
yeah,
But I
man.
mean, everybody was walking around
So
with
cool.
"Don't Have a Cow" and
yeah,
uh,
Mr. Plow.
Yeah, oh
Yeah,
yes,
Mr.
all
Plow
of it.
stuff. Yeah.
That was going on forever when I was little. I can't tell you how many times we would draw Simpsons and all that.
That's
Right, right,
awesome.
right.
That's cool.
And technology-wise, probably CDs, DVDs, like changing media format, no
Yeah.
more
Yeah,
tapes,
yeah,
no more
yeah.
VHS.
Okay.
And then the biggest thing as I got a little older was the internet.
The internet,
Right,
obviously,
for
yeah.
sure.
Yeah, right.
and you
right.
were around for the cell phones too. And what,
Yep,
the
yeah. I
cell
remember getting my
phones,
cell phone. I had
because-
oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Then the
Yeah.
Kia candy bar phone that everybody had, like 6, 7, 80 or something. I don't even know. You could probably check it out, Brian.
Yeah.
Everybody had that, and you had Snake for a game, right? Beep boop. And
Oh.
Snake, if you don't know, is like just a little line game, and you have to go and whatever. And you're confined to a small area, and you can't run into any part of yourself.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
but
yeah,
you'd
yeah,
be
yeah,
hitting. You use like the 2 button, the 8 button, 4 and
So
6.
funny.
Yeah.
man.
2, 4.
Yeah. And that was like the
It was
shit.
So
Yeah.
everybody
you
was
got
like,
Snake on your phone?
dude, got 2-hour talk time, 3-hour standby time. And everybody would want someone else to see it. They're like, "What you got a cell phone?" Yeah, I was,
Yeah, 'cause that was
keeping
like
on
when
the
you had a
low. You
cell
wanted
phone.
someone to notice
exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah. 2001 was my first cell phone. It was one of those ones, like you said, with the antenna that the
Yeah.
flexible little button antenna
Yeah,
that
yeah,
pulled
yeah.
out of it. It was a Panasonic, I think. Or
That's
something.
pretty cool. That's a lot of awesome shit in one year, though. That's awesome.
it.
Yeah,
So what about you,
yeah.
Joey? What do you
Yeah,
got?
So-
1991 real
What
quick.
yeah,
about
so
Brian?
I
Did
was
you want to
born,
ask Brian what was the big
Nah,
thing?
we
during-
don't have enough time.
We're gonna
so-
go in order though, right?
Yeah,
so
yeah.
I mean, all right. So anyway, but so I was born in
yeah, that's true.
1991.
You're gonna break.
So I don't really even have the whole thing. But anyway, the one thing I remember, the big thing for me was the 90s television, and that's just, I could probably spend 17 years talking about these 17 years of awesome cartoons and freaking SpongeBob and all that shit. And obviously we had like I remember growing up, I used to I had all my Saturday morning cartoons, Power Rangers. I
Oh,
had
Power Rangers.
like Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, and all those shows growing up. And I don't know, for me, like my formative years were all me hanging out in front of a TV. I would wake up early on a Saturday morning, earlier than I do now,
Oh,
and I would just sit
Saturday
in front of the
morning.
TV
Yeah.
and just watch constant movies. And I think that's really what shaped me, like why I love movies and TV so much now, because ever since I was a kid, I was like obsessed with it. I never grew out of it.
Yeah.
I still love
I had that
movies
same
and
issue
TV.
from sitting all the time. It shaped my body into the round
Yeah.
figure I
the
have now in
round
front of
mass that we have right now.
Yeah.
You had some great movies
So,
that came out the year.
I
you
had
were
a few
born.
great movies. So actually, believe it. So one of the things I remember from that list that you saw on the computer in front of me right now, but one of them was Terminator 2. Terminator 2 Judgment
Oh,
Day,
that was sick, dude.
which is
Great
awesome.
movie.
Which is first of all, it's actually in my top 10 list all time.
That's
So
a great
that's one
movie.
cool thing. So it came out the year I was born, and I have that. So
That
that
had
was
sick
pretty
special
cool.
effects.
But yeah, that was awesome too. That was also one of my favorite directors as well, James Cameron. And yeah, so I mean, it was just really cool. In terms of like big events, like just real quick to touch on, I remember like the biggest thing for me, like we talked about it already, was honestly, I mean, like it kind of goes without saying, the first real huge memory I have was honestly probably like the combination of the bombing of the USS Cole and then 9/11.
Yeah, 9/11
Those two
was the
things kind of
biggest
combined.
probably
I
thing.
saw
those
the
were
Cole not too
the
long
two
after
big
that.
things. Yeah.
Yeah, it
'Cause
was
you were,
in
yeah,
port.
yeah, you were, yeah, right.
I was in the military then. I was visiting my friend Miguel, and he
Oh.
brought me through. He
Oh,
was an
really?
officer. Yeah, he brought me
Oh,
through
no
the
shit, okay.
Norfolk base.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah,
It was in port there. It was very sad. to see
yeah,
the big
yeah,
hole in it.
terrible, yeah.
Yeah.
So besides that, though, I mean it's kind of crazy.
that's
I mean,
kinda
not
cool.
to
So just-
not to end 91, my birth year, with a sad thing, but
You
that's
really
just my
blew it.
big- I know, right? It was all fun, and then
It's
yeah,
mostly
and
your
then
fault.
9/11, but
So-
and then obviously like the other big thing was social media. Now that
Oh,
was
yeah.
probably
Oh,
more like
social
Brian's
media.
generation,
Yeah,
like, 'cause, like
yeah.
started
started
with
getting
that.
Brian, you
bigger,
ruined
but,
everybody.
Yeah.
MySpace.
Yeah, Facebook and
MySpace was the first
MySpace,
big one that
yeah,
started
MySpace
out.
was the first big one, and then Facebook, and then obviously all blew up.
So anyway, hopefully you guys get something out of it. I think about the times when you were growing up in your days and what was big in your time. But don't forget to follow us. And you can check us out if you want to check us out at our webpage at looselyrelatedpodcast.com. You can check us out on Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio. You can check out our Facebook page, Instagram. We got loosely_related at Instagram. And yeah, check us out. Go to YouTube. Check us out on YouTube. And don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button.
Hell
And
yeah.
the notification bell so you can get more of the great content we're ready to bring to you.
Yeah,
And yeah, so I think we'll take a little break.
take a
What
quick
do you think?
break. Okay, that
And
sounds good.
we'll come back in a little while.
All right.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Okay, so we're back. That was cool, guys. I think it's interesting. I think people will be interested in that
Yeah.
kind of thing. One of the technologies nowadays is, like you said, the computer, and the computer is like everything's
Right.
computer now.
Like Rob mentioned the
Phone.
internet.
Yeah.
You were,
Yeah.
like computer, and like I was
Phones,
like
cell
social media
phones.
and like that kind of aspect, like whatever.
That's probably the thing
and
that's
it's like
influenced more all of our lives, everyone's life, because
Computer
of the
and
phones and the
internet, right.
computers and the
Every
internet and
aspect, right?
everything, and
Yeah.
like when it comes to shopping and stuff like Amazon and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. Everybody's buying everything off Amazon.
Yeah, it's insane, man.
I remember, I want to say like 5 or 6 years ago, maybe more. I don't even remember anymore. My sister, John Lynch, she was like the first one to like just send us gifts, and they would come in these Amazon boxes. I'm
Really?
like, what the hell is it?
Yeah, yeah,
For like
yeah.
Christmas or whatever, and
Yeah.
they would just come, here's all your Amazon stuff.
right.
And they could be like anything. Some of it would be clothes or some kind of ceramic, like a coffee mug or
Yeah.
a CD or a movie you wanted. It was like, I was like, what the hell? Where are you getting all this? It's like, this
Yeah.
is coming from one place.
Yeah.
But it brings the question, like, do you guys ever think like we're getting so much into like just never like just wearing pajamas and ordering everything from home that it's going to be like the death of malls and hangouts and
Yeah.
stores and stuff
It's
like
already
that?
happening.
So, yeah,
I,
it's
I,
happening
I, I
already.
would argue that it's already happening, and
Yeah.
I mean, like, I to me, it's like we were talking about this the other day about how like we're like where we used to hang out and stuff when I was in high school, and Rob had mentioned like Rob, you grew up in the city, right? So it wasn't
Yeah.
like necessarily was there like a
We had
not
no
like a
malls.
mall, right?
We
Or
had
whatever, yeah.
We had the strip mall.
the strip mall, right? Yeah,
And
exactly.
And it sounds about as classy as it.
Yeah.
it
Yeah,
is.
I believe
They
it.
still
It's about
have
as
them.
fast as
it.
They're probably still more.
Yeah, we had like a Martin Paints. And like a pizza parlor maybe. There was
Right.
always pizza and
Yeah.
like some like knockoff stuff. We didn't even have 7-Elevens while I was
Yeah.
growing up there.
Well, I know like for me it was like so I went to high school in right down like I would say probably 10 minutes from like the Poughkeepsie Galleria, like we're in like Hudson Valley, New York area. So it's a decent sized mall. It's two
Yeah, it's a
floors,
nice
but
mall.
it's a big mall. So I mean, my high school was right there. So most days, not even lying, after high school, especially my senior year, we would always go to the mall, hang out for like
meet
15,
up.
20 minutes, and just hang out at the mall.
And they had two big malls right there. They had the South Hills right next door to
Well, that
it,
was
right?
closed down by the time like by my senior year, it was already pretty
yeah, we
much
Oh,
used to
really?
the
No
South
kidding.
Hills Mall.
yeah, well, that's part of it too, though. The
Yeah.
South Hills Mall was right there. That completely died out
Really, did
because
it?
of
I thought it was
yeah.
still some stuff there actually.
No, well, the mall itself.
Oh, it's
I'm
still
saying
there.
like the actual.
It's
still
still
there,
that
but-
$2 movie theater. in
Yeah,
there.
they have that. Like the mall itself is dead. They obviously put some stores and they have a shop right
Yeah.
in there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
that's my point. They had
And
they
furniture
put in
stores, right?
stores.
Yes,
Stores,
that's
yeah.
right.
But the
They
mall
reconfigured
itself
it.
is like not.
Right.
It's not a mall.
It's not really a mall,
Nobody
right.
would. No, let's go hang out at the South Hills Mall.
They
You
have
know?
Ashley's Furniture. We can hang
Yeah.
out with some ottomans.
Bob's Furniture. We'll go sit on all the Bob-O-Pedics.
Seriously.
But,
man. I mean, we went today.
yeah.
We went over to the
Yeah.
mall to go shopping we went to a strip mall to get some stuff because we're gonna have our Halloween episode. We got some stuff for that, and then we
Yeah.
went to the mall to check out It used to be a
Our local
Bonton
mall,
store. You
yeah.
get on one end,
Yeah.
usually the malls you get the big store on both ends, and then stuff in the middle. The one on the right side of the mall was Bonton, and they
Yeah.
closed. So
Right.
now it's
That's completely closed.
yeah, it's
Yeah, yeah.
completely
Crazy.
closed,
and
shut down.
just and the Sears in there.
And the Sears is
they have a
closing down on
closeout,
the other
blowout
side.
sale.
All-
They look
all-
like that's the end of that one.
All you see is blowout sales.
And we took a
No.
walk through the mall, and like half
It's like half
Half
the
the
stores are
stores are
closed.
closed.
Yeah, it was so
It's just
depressing.
like, yeah, it's sad looking, isn't it?
It's super dark and it's almost like I mean the floor the floor is disgusting.
Oh, my
There's
God.
cracks in the
Yeah.
floor. There's the like those like massage chairs. I can't imagine you sit in that chair and
Oh,
you contract immediately like the bubonic plague.
You definitely
You
did.
know,
We didn't
It's,
touch anything.
No, we didn't touch
No, no,
anything.
yeah.
And I immediately
We
threw my
disinfected.
sneakers out as soon as
Yes,
we got home.
burn them.
It almost
Yeah.
looked like a
But-
scene right out of another movie with Will Smith in the future.
Oh, I Am Legend. I
I
knew
Am
what you were going to
Legend.
say right away. That's what I was thinking of when we
Yeah.
were there.
It
I was
looked
like,
like
it's so dead.
post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
ghost town.
Yeah.
It's a
I know.
ghost town.
And to be fair, that mall wasn't spectacular, right?
Yeah,
I mean,
never, yeah.
but still, the just decay of it. It's like they just are letting it. They're probably not even paying anyone to clean it. It looked
No,
like.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
But going back to what you were saying, Joey,
Yeah.
like, don't you feel like some of those stores probably have memories for you, right? I know
Yeah,
for me
big
they
time,
do.
man.
I remember when I was little, like you said, we lived in the Bronx. We didn't really have any of those major stores. I never went to a mall until I was about 12. My
Really?
aunt brought me to stay with her
Mhm.
in Long Island. They have a
Ooh.
gorgeous, enormous mall. And
Oh,
I
was that
remember
the
first
Roosevelt
time-
Field Mall, Rob?
I think it
Oh,
was,
dude,
yeah.
that's my favorite mall. That mall is amazing.
That was like
That
the
is-
first, and
yeah.
I didn't understand it. She's like, "No, it's not." I remember. I think we went to like a Macy's or something.
Yeah, yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
like, Macy's, and she's
Yeah.
like, "No, the stores are inside this store." And I
Yeah.
couldn't wrap my mind around. I'm
Right.
like,
Oh,
"What
that's
do
so
you mean the
funny.
stores are
Yeah.
inside this store?"
Right.
She's like, "Go see." And we ate like a Johnny Rockets, had like
Yeah.
a Gore Smooth there.
That's
It
the
was
one
like,
that Johnny Rocket's still there.
oh my
Yeah,
god, I haven't
yeah,
been there
yeah,
in years.
yeah,
So
yeah.
it's like it just, and then when I
Is that
got
the one
older,
that's down in Yonkers? Like down
No,
It's on Long Island.
Long
Oh,
Island.
Long
It's the
Island. Oh,
Roosevelt
okay.
Field Mall.
Yeah.
It's in. Yeah.
it's and then when I did get older, like you were saying in high school, my senior year, I moved up here closer
Right.
to you guys.
Yeah.
And we would go to the Galleria.
The Galleria, yeah.
And just like I miss all those stores, and even Brian was saying earlier, the Nanuet, right?
Yeah.
I remember
the
going
Nanuet
there.
I remember
Mall.
when the
Nanuet
County.
Mall. I remember going there, and it
I
was a really nice mall at one point.
I remember when it was
Yeah.
built.
You were
Yeah.
part of the building.
I was part of the building,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I remember seeing they had those. It was the first time I saw anything like fancy. Like you'd have to go to like Westchester now to see one of these things. But they had like where they show you in the mall like the directory you are here.
Yeah.
The Nanuet Mall. I'll never forget. They used to have the revolving ones. They had like fancy revolving.
Really?
Yeah, at one point they did. They had Babbage's.
Right
Do you
before
guys
they
remember
closed.
Babbage's?
Babbage's?
And EB Games.
EB Games, I remember
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
EB
Yeah, I
Games
used
was
to-
bought out by GameStop.
They
which
would
is
have like
crazy. Yeah.
sick
My favorite
games in there. Like, oh, I want to go
Yeah.
over
My
there.
favorite stores in those malls were Spencer's.
Oh, remember Spencer?
Yeah.
Oh no, Spencer's still
Spencer's
around.
still on.
Yeah, they're
Spencer's
still around.
still doing
But
it.
I don't know how that is.
Yeah.
And even the ones that are, they're either gone or they're in bankruptcy. One of the biggest ones, I was really sad to go because when I was little, I always wanted to go to Toys R Us because you'd see all the
Oh,
commercials.
Yeah, yeah.
man.
And
Oh,
we
yeah.
had one right
Yeah,
outside of like
yeah,
Co-op
yeah.
City, and we'd be so jazzed to go.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my god! So when I
That's-
got older and had my own family, I would bring
That's a great example.
the two young ones a lot, and even all four of my kids, and we would like pick something out if they
Yeah.
did, birthday or holiday or whatever, and we would just love going around the store.
Hell yeah.
It was sad to see Toys R Us
Yeah,
go under,
man.
man.
Yeah,
there was
yeah.
there wasn't one in the Galleria, but there was that one like right by the entrance of the Galleria. And I remember like being a kid, that was one that you guys would take us to as a kid because that was
Yeah,
the
that
closest
one, right?
one
Yeah,
to
and they had the
us.
one in the Middletown outside of the mall as well.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And then-
But that was a huge
yeah.
store.
Yeah,
huge
it's
store.
gone,
Yeah.
and that's gone. Like
Yeah.
just gone.
And
That's
then that
not
means
anywhere,
they're Baby
really.
R Us with them. That's
Oh,
gone.
right, true.
Like we said, Sears is going out. Payless is collapsing.
Yeah. Oh, Payless is that was one of the stores that we saw today. Was
Yeah, that's
closed out.
collapsing.
You can see the Payless.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's not. I mean
Oh my god.
I can't say anything because I use Amazon all the time.
No,
and
I was gonna say
literally
that
do it
too. I think
constantly.
we're
Yeah.
all adding to it.
We're
In
all
fact, I
culpable.
sell stuff on
Yeah.
Amazon.
I have
Yeah.
blood on my hands. Listen, I
I
have the
know.
blood of
Damn
Toys R Us is on my hands.
Damn
It's
spot.
It's just so damn convenient, because
Yeah.
It's
you
a
pay-
Shakespeare joke. People look it up.
Yeah.
and things are a little more expensive than if you like got them at a regular store. Sometimes a lot
Right.
of them are, but it's the convenience of just sitting there and clicking on it, and just 2 days later it shows up at
Yeah,
your door. You know
exactly.
what I mean?
Yeah, I'm just looking at some of these now that they're either gone or they're in bankruptcy. I forgot about some. Gymboree. I mean, not that I would use that a lot, but for the kids.
Yeah, right.
The Limited. A lot of those clothing
I remember
stores.
Corvettes.
Clothing Limited.
Corvettes when I was when
Toys
I
R
was
Us.
younger.
What was
a-
Corvettes?
Corvettes was like a department store kind
Oh,
of.
really?
Like
Oh, okay.
You
remember like probably Woolworth then?
Yeah,
Like
Woolworths.
Caldor.
Mhm.
Yep, Caldors. Yeah,
Caldors.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
you remember clothes like
J.C.
when
Penney,
clothes
are they
were
closed
invented.
now? J.C. Penney, did he
Closed.
close?
J.C. Penney
They're
is
hurting.
they're hurting
They're
pretty
hurting.
bad.
Yeah, a lot of them are reinventing
Oh
themselves.
yeah, the big one that just happened was Forever 21 just filed Chapter 12 bankruptcy. They just
Yeah.
filed it like a month ago. Yeah, Forever 21 just filed Chapter
Rue
12.
21 too.
Yeah.
What's with all these
Bambergers?
numbers?
I don't know that.
What's that?
Bambergers?
Bam?
Remember Bambergers?
Bam Burgers?
It used
Bam
to be
Bam?
a Bambergers, I think.
Bam
it's called.
Burgers?
Yeah,
What the
it
hell
was,
is
it was
that?
just another
Buy
retail store,
burgers?
like a
Bob's Burgers.
like
I
a
love Bob's
Walmart kind of a
Burgers.
store,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah,
Um,
Gordman's. Did you know that one? I
That one
never
doesn't
heard of
sound
Never heard of
familiar to me.
Gord's
No.
Milk.
Gander, the
North
huge Gander
Shore.
Mountain near us. That's gone.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. Oh really?
Yep.
Oh, that was a big one actually. Yeah.
Radio Shack. Now,
Oh,
thi-
yeah,
now
yeah,
this
yeah.
is the part.
Well,
now I know we can get almost
We could
anything
talk.
on
We could
Amazon.
do
Yeah.
a whole segment on Radio
We
Shack.
could,
I'm
though.
not
I'm gonna
surprised
tell
they
you-
should have been out of business 20 years
You
prior to that.
you called it though for
I will
years.
say this though about Payless. I mean Payless. I will say this about Radio
Close
Shack.
enough.
I will. Yeah, so they
Yeah.
both sell garbage. But what I liked about Radio Shack, and you've probably done this too. I'm a tinkerer with certain things, particularly like small stereos and stuff like that. You can find any
Anything there,
dumbass little gadget you would never find. Oh,
Yeah.
you need an end in an OR gate? Like who the hell would even
They
know
had
that?
everything.
They would have it.
Yeah.
and like if
you
you
paid
weren't
a-
sure, you
It was
paid the
there.
premium.
You
You
paid
paid, like-
the
Yeah, you did.
1,015
Yeah.
1,500 that point markup on the price, but
Yeah,
it was
exactly.
But some things like you'd want to see in person, you know.
Yeah.
What I hate having to order it on Amazon. I get it. I'm like, oh crap, this isn't the right inverter. or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta
yeah.
Send it
Mhm.
back. Or you're looking through. I mean, it is convenient, like you said, Joe. I think we're all guilty of using it. Brian, you probably order stuff, don't you?
Yeah, but like you said, it's difficult because like I bought one of these mic arms.
Yeah.
the
Yeah,
and
right.
it was like, oh yeah, this works with the microphone that I have, and then I bought it and it didn't work for my
Right.
yeah,
microphone.
right,
Right,
right.
right,
You
right,
have
right.
to do the research when you buy that kind of thing. The things that I don't
Yeah.
like buying
Yeah.
on places like that is like furniture and stuff. Oh, not furniture. Well,
Yeah.
some furniture, but clothing. I meant big difference.
Yeah, no, me
big
neither.
difference between furniture and clothing.
Yeah,
but,
like what
um,
the Eagles
the
shirt. that you
cloting,
got.
I like to have because you don't know if it's going to fit you right. You know,
No,
looks
and
great,
everything
and
fits
then you
different,
order it and
absolutely.
it's like, is
Sneakers,
it going to
you're
fit?
right,
I don't
totally
know if
right.
it's going to fit. So I think the clothing stores they'll probably stay around because people
I don't know,
still
man.
want.
But I'm like
I
J.C.
think-
Penney and Sears are primarily clothing.
Probably
I mean,
because-
well, Sears is not, right? Sears is not primarily.
No.
No,
clothing.
they're all a bunch of
no,
different.
JCPenney
they're
is.
collapsing. Sears is collapsing.
But
they
like-
shut like
Yeah.
hundreds of
Yeah.
stores
But
already.
places like Kohl's, I think will be
I love
around for a long
Kohl's.
time because they
Yeah.
I don't know, man.
I don't.
they
dude,
have good stuff. And,
But I bet
only
you a
place
lot of
that'll
these
be
juggernauts
around-
thought they would be.
yeah,
Yeah,
JC
true.
Penney's huge is going to collapse.
The only
yeah,
place
they're
that might
huge,
not-
but
Macy's is
here's
huge.
where they
Where
lose.
Macy's-
I
yeah.
think is that they never stayed competitive with their prices. When prices were coming down, they were competing with places like Amazon and Kohl's and stuff, where they're giving you all kinds of incentives to come into
Yeah.
the store to buy their clothing. Like, oh, you get $25 coupon, you get the Kohl's cash. And I've seen my wife go in there and buy, outfits for everybody and spend like $25 with all the
Yeah.
Kohl's cash she had.
I guess
You
that's
know,
true.
so
but I mean,
these places like
Oh my god, I forgot.
But the
about
thing is,
some
don't
of these.
forget Kohl's. Where I always laugh about Kohl's is Kohl's has a technology section. Every time I could have just
Yeah.
been there a week ago. Every time I walk in there, I go like, they sell TVs here.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
sell
I could have just seen.
It's
I'm like,
pretty small though.
I'm like, what the hell is
kitchen
that?
Yeah,
small kitchen
it's like-
appliances, things
but
like
that's
that.
what
But,
I'm
like-
saying. They're all trying to adapt.
I'm telling you right
Yeah.
now, like from an accountant standpoint,
If you don't
okay,
adapt, you lose. That's
like,
what it
all right,
comes down
like
to.
I don't get into accounting on this podcast too much. It's not there, but I'm telling you right now, there's a
This
little
is the
concept in
accounting
accounting
podcast.
called overhead, and I'm telling you right now, you're a
This
place
store
like
is a-
Kohl's. You want to go out of business, keep that freaking overhead and keep that freaking stock out potential on your shelf that you have with all those electronics. There's no way. I know that we've bought maybe 2 things in our lifetime from Kohl's
Yeah, I
electronics
literally go there
section.
for clothes.
But you go there for
Yeah.
clothes,
Yeah.
and you go there for decent price clothes. We bought that Cheers shirt there. They
Sneakers,
have
things
cool
like
show
that.
sneaker. I bought these sneakers I'm wearing there.
I bought these.
I'm
and I
just
always get
saying, like,
compliments on
And
these.
I go there for the
You gotta-
Godiva chocolates.
You
too,
have to play to
sometimes.
your
The Godiva
strengths.
chocolates where
Oh,
I
yeah,
go
the
to
chocolates
Kohl's
that
for
they
that.
have there.
But listen,
you gotta
and
play to
some-
your strengths.
remember Sports Authority? I didn't even remember.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
PacSun.
Right.
A lot of these mall stores were like the
Models.
same thing. No, Models,
Models.
Crazy Eddies.
Aeropostale.
Did I say
Oh,
Crazy
yeah.
Eddies already?
There's this. You have this one's funny. You see ones like Wet Seal. I remember my daughter be like Wet Seal.
Oh,
I'm like,
yeah.
I don't know what the f a Wet Seal is, but she ain't going in there. But this one's even more on the nose. This one's just called Nasty Gal.
Ugh.
There you go.
Out of online
We'll call that
fashion.
one.
I don't
That's
know.
pretty good.
I think
Yoga Smoga.
what's gonna save clothing stores a little bit is that, well, no, not really. But so with clothing stores, it's 50-50 because a lot of
Yeah.
times you'll walk in and you look at the sizes and the selection is awful.
Yeah.
Like I know for
Yeah.
holidays,
Yeah,
I
Yes.
can never find anything. Like I'm in
Yeah.
like a pretty common. I
You're-
think well that's probably it because I'm in a
It's
pretty
sold
common
out.
size.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why it's the same for me.
Yeah, I wear a
That's,
size
but then
9
you-
sneaker. I can
yeah,
never find
yeah,
that
and
thing.
me-
Rob
my-
Rob
my
Shorts in usually your dwarf section's okay. You're usually
Yeah.
okay with that.
I go to Baby Gap,
Baby
but
Gap.
even
Yeah.
Baby Cap's at risk now.
Yeah, Baby Gap's going. Oh, how's Gap doing? Because
Yeah.
Gap
Gap's
was
another
solid.
one.
Gap
Jack.
was solid
Gap
for
is
a while.
Gap's
Yeah.
such a
I
horrible
mean,
store. That's another one.
Why
I'm
is that a
surprised.
horrible
I used to
store?
shop
Because
there.
their stuff is. I mean, they give you a good.
Why you
prices.
don't like Gap, man?
I hate. I'm
Gap
not. I'm.
is,
You know
Why
what
are
I'm
you
thinking?
crapping on
I'm
Gap
thinking
right
now?
of
I was gonna
Old
say.
Navy. I'm
Oh,
confusing
yeah, Old
Gap and
Navy.
Old
Yeah.
Navy.
All right. Well,
Now
that's
you
a
have
little
Old
bit
Navy.
different.
$20
Gap
piece.
is
I used to
good. They
hate
have
those.
good clothing. And they
Remember
usually
those
have pretty decent
commercials?
prices,
They'd be on a
but-
plane and some ridiculous. We're all wearing $20 fleece. I'm like, what the hell?
Why are you all matching? You're not.
And there's
some
always
weird,
a dog, and the dog's like,
Yeah, it
woof.
seems
Like,
like-
what the hell is that supposed to?
Yeah,
The
you're
Ga-
not Episcopalians. You don't need to all wear the
Oh my
same
gosh,
clothes.
yeah. I don't know
I
what's
think
happening.
Old Navy is
But
a
Old
store.
Navy's
It's
owned
all
by the
by
Gap.
refurbished.
Is it really?
Yeah, of course.
Oh,
Yeah,
no
but
shit.
That's their product line for low end, medium, and
Yeah,
their
I
high end would
think-
be Banana Republic. They own that too.
Oh
Well,
no
I-
shit, really? Okay.
But what
Banana
I,
Republic's
what
dope.
I
like
think they
that.
do with Old Navy
That's
is that
super white.
it's like a refurbished rendition of Salvation Army clothes. It's like they go to the Salvation
Okay.
Army, they board all the Salvation Army
But
clothes,
the
then
Army
they
and Navy are two
refurbish
different
it,
branches. Ha ha! But
and then they put it in. They sell it in Old Navy.
anyway,
God.
the only store that I think has a legitimate chance to ever compete with Amazon, and I honestly would make the argument right now that they will always be around because they can compete with Amazon, and that's Walmart. Walmart's the only
Yeah, oh
place
yeah, Walmart,
because they
Target,
do it all.
they
have the-
Target maybe could, but I don't even know. Man, like you go into Target now, and it, like the one in Newburgh does kind of feel like it's not. I don't know. It feels weird. Like a lot of the shelves are bare a lot. You can't find the stuff you're looking for.
I think
they
just
Walmart
have
seems
bad
like it's
employees.
always
It's-
packed.
Because they've got
It's
such
always busy.
logistics. They're like the Amazon of department
Of
The
the
stores.
brick and
department
mortar,
stores,
yeah.
yeah,
Brick and mortar, and
yeah,
they're
that's
trying to compete.
But those were the ones that put out the smaller stores. Your
Yeah.
Walmarts and your
Yeah,
Targets.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Crushed all those small mom and pop stores.
Yeah, yeah, and now they know that they have to try to do something to compete with the Amazons of the world, and they're trying to do that.
Yeah.
They're trying to do more online
Yeah.
stuff at the Walmart.
I mean, and there
stores.
is a roadmap, or already to show us how this ends up. Because remember, maybe I don't know, 15 years ago, there was B. Dalton's, there was Borders, there was Barnes and Nobles. Barnes and Noble's the only one left
Barnes and Noble's the one left, yeah. And
because
Barnes and Noble's
digital
like,
reading,
and
ebooks, and all that came out. and
let's be honest.
crushed them.
How much longer is Barnes and Noble
I
going to
don't
be
know,
around?
man.
I don't.
But you
think
know
that
what? I
much
used to
longer.
love sitting in there, having my coffee, whatever, reading an entire book and then putting it back.
What was
Yeah,
the
man.
What was the name of
Which
the
is
guy?
probably why they're.
What
The
guy?
biggest problem with Barnes and Noble is that I know for college, when you look on like Amazon for
Yeah.
like used
Oh.
books in good condition, oh my gosh, you can get them for
Absolutely.
cents sometimes.
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
And you're just paying the shipping fee.
Exactly.
And then also to that point, Brian, you can rent them. I rented what was
rent
that big that company. They're still around. I'm not in school
McGraw.
anymore.
Oh no, Chegg.
Chegg,
is
yeah.
big. Yeah, so
I would
yeah.
Chegg a lot
That's
of
where I mostly
books.
got. That's
Or
where I
Amazon
get
a
most of
lot
my
of
books.
books.
Amazon is big for that. Rent books
Right.
from there.
Yeah, I think
Yep.
the movie You Got Mail is loosely based on Barnes and
On
Noble.
Barnes and Noble, probably. I
Yeah.
think you're probably right.
Yeah,
Yeah, that makes sense. That department store.
You don't
Killing
know
it
what
today.
that's.
Yeah, but I mean, like the part, I don't know, like Walmart, I think could be around for a while because I think that they have the. But it's funny because now Amazon's getting into everything. Like Walmart, I was
You can order
is
food.
completely fine because
They-
you can, they have a food mart.
Yeah.
But now Amazon's starting to get into the food mart. They got the
Nice.
Amazon
You can
grocery
get food.
stores now, man.
And you know
I'm
what's
telling
strange?
you.
I don't think a lot of people realize that. A lot of people, I think that Amazon is like making all these products. They make very little of
They don't-
anything
oh,
they sell.
yeah,
it's
yeah,
all
yeah,
third
yeah.
parties. People
Yeah, they have- I mean,
sell it there and then they sell
Yeah,
through it.
like they have their Amazon Basics line, but
Right.
besides that,
It's a
yeah,
small
the vast
portion of
majority, they're a merchandiser. That's what they do. They
Right.
they are obviously the middleman in between most of these companies. That's like I could potentially see Macy's sticking around forever. They're really well like they. Also,
Because
because
of-
like Macy's only like you can only get certain clothing at Macy's,
Right,
Like and
yeah.
that like having that exclusive like that like exclusivity is
Yeah.
huge. Having
Yeah.
that is huge.
They were like
Quicksilver.
one of the
Yeah.
first department stores.
Yeah, they've been
really.
around
I mean,
forever.
Yeah.
They still got that
Them
dumb
and
turkey going
Gimbals.
across.
If you watched Miracle on
Oh,
31st Street,
Yeah.
or if you watched.
Oh, speaking of that, one of the places that's gone is FAO Schwartz.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
gone.
Yeah, that's
FAO
right.
Schwartz is gone.
That's
They
what yeah.
so I don't know if they still do. One of the other stores picked
think-
up their line,
Oh,
those like
really?
large stuffed animals they make,
Yeah.
and they sell it through them. Or
Yeah.
whatever,
I think
yeah.
that building that's in New York City now is a big Apple store.
Well, no,
the Apple
there-
store is downstairs in
It's
front
down.
of it. It goes down.
It's
Oh,
right
yeah?
out in front of
Yeah.
it. Yeah.
Oh, is it? Okay.
That's an awesome Apple.
You can always
store.
tell when something new's coming out. I'll be on the bus watching just a line down that road.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
Oh my god.
But it's, I mean, like, that's what, so, like, the other day, like, we got talking about this because the other day I had gone to the Galleria because, like, I was there, whatever, going to see a movie. Now, I will say, like, they have movie theaters there and all that. That's where I go see my movies and shit. But even the Poughkeepsie Galleria, which I never thought was ever going to have a problem, I was on the bottom level walking down. And I saw, for the first time in my life, I've been going there since I was, like, probably, I don't know, 16. I started to see, like, 3 stores in a row that are all boarded up. I don't mean, like oh, they're renovating. No, like, boarded up.
Right.
And I'm just starting to say, like, dude, I don't know. I was telling Brian today, I was like, mark my words, in 20 years, I bet you the Galleria is going to be really struggling to stay, like, to,
You're
like,
gonna have to
get
get,
people to
get
go.
ahead of it. I mean, like,
Yeah.
like it was going back to the Barnes Nobles thing. They were too late to get on that digital e-reader.
Yeah,
But
exactly.
you should have saw that writing on the wall.
Yeah.
Right.
And they're still trying to peddle some old ebook thing when we're all way ahead of that.
Yeah,
already.
yeah.
But and then what happens to those? Like, so you have a mall like that. It's like you get what's that? John Lease, I guess. What is that? The one around here that's huge? JT Lease or one of those. One of those huge. They own property management.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
So-
yeah. I know what you're
So
talking
those
about.
malls
John
you
J.
have-
Lease or no?
yeah,
that's-
something,
Yeah,
like,
whatever
something
it's
like that,
called,
right?
yeah.
Okay, so it's one of these big, and the malls, they're mostly owned by 4 or 5 groups on all of those malls.
Yeah.
So what happens, I think, also is when those huge stores close, they're not getting bankrolled from those stores anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
That
right.
hurts the rest of them. What are they going to do? They're going to keep upping those friggin' prices.
Yeah,
to
Right.
make up for
Yeah,
that.
that's true.
exactly.
That makes
And then
sense.
they're going to crush those.
Increase
They're not
these-
going to have profit.
Yeah.
Exactly, man.
So
absolutely.
it just looks like,
Yeah. I think
it's
it's a
destined to
matter.
fail.
I think it's a matter of time, and I
Yeah.
think it's such like, dude, I had like you said, bro, I have so many good memories there, hanging out in Best Buy. Like,
Yeah.
like
Oh,
me,
but
and,
I love
me and all my
tinkering around
friends.
Best Buy. I
We're
still
all
do.
gamers. I'm still a gamer now, but we used to walk around
Yeah.
Best Buy and look at stuff and go into
Yep.
Dick's because we were all big sports guys
Yep.
too, and like we'd have to just. I mean, I don't know. I love it. I love it for a lot of that reason, and I think
Yeah.
it's not gonna be around too much longer, man.
No,
Even
yeah.
the food court, the freaking food court has,
I
has
know,
lost
that's a
like
good
3 or
call.
4 restaurants,
Well,
man.
good call, Mike. You can always count on the same 4 things. You can't even count on those anymore. There'll always be
Exactly.
like an
That's
Asian
sad.
food with samples
Yeah.
outside.
Well,
Dude,
There's
the-
always a Sabaros
Dude,
or one
the
of those.
Wendy's is gone.
Oh
In that
my
food
gosh.
court in there, they had the Wendy's.
Yeah.
It's not there anymore.
Used
It's
to be
gone.
at the end, right? On the
Yeah,
top.
yeah, it's gone.
the only things that
So-
are left in these places are sneaker stores and electronic stores.
Yeah, well, we saw that today.
Electronic stores are definitely
Electronic
like, the big
stores
I
are
like
better.
tinkering
And not
around
even
with
that
that
many
stuff, you know?
electronic
Because,
stores.
like, I wouldn't. There's times
Like-
when I'm at Best Buy, and that's the reason I know that there's something new out that I never saw. I'm like, oh, check this gadget out. I wouldn't know about it if it was only online.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, man, for sure.
What's that store? FYI? Is that the store? that we-
FYE.
That's
That's
why,
not-
yeah.
That's
Fire,
the.
whatever
Yeah,
it's
I
called.
can't believe that's still around.
FYI,
That's-
it's called FYE.
FYE. Isn't it for your information? So
For
FYE.
your
Right, that's why I said that.
entertainment.
Yeah. all right.
Yeah, man. So.
So yeah,
besides
but
that,
it's
I
like
think-
it's like freaking scene comics make freaking comments about these
Yeah.
kinds of things. You
It
know, they can make
definitely
up a
is-
whole skit on it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I'm sure a lot of them have.
A lot of them have
as-
skits
my
about
God.
how bad it is.
First of all, South Park made an entire episode all about Amazon. And
Oh,
it
yeah,
was
you were
freaking,
saying
it
that.
was
I haven't seen that
absolutely hilarious, dude. I mean, they honestly had like they started to get into a thing where they have like a season-long story thing now, and like basically all of season 22 was all about Amazon and all that.
Wait, it carries
And then
through?
it carries. So they do that now. They now
Oh,
do
get outta here.
continuous stories now.
I
Yeah,
might have
they
to check
started
it out
that
again. I
in
haven't-
like season
It's funny.
18. They started doing that where
Yeah.
they have continuous stories now, and that was
my
like the
God.
whole thing for it. They, like this, not the current season, the one before that was all about Amazon and
Oh my
taking
gosh.
things over and all that.
Wow.
That's funny.
And
Yeah,
you
because they
have,
have their hands. They're even putting their hands in the
Yeah,
like against FedEx and UPS. They're
Yeah.
giving them a hard time.
Yeah,
They're trying
yeah.
to buy out
Yeah.
planes and trains and automobiles.
Yeah.
Good movie. Check that out.
dude, it's
But
funny,
yeah, it's a
but
good
I mean,
movie.
like the thing is, like it really is funny. You have people are starting to realize this, obviously, right? You have freaking some of my favorite stand-up comedians are making fun of it all the time. One of the guys I was talking was recently talking about the fact that you can no longer get like before you know it, you're not going to be able to walk into a Starbucks anymore. Starbucks going to be entirely virtual. You're going to have all these freaking white girls posting on Twitter pictures of them ordering their pumpkin spice lattes instead of putting Instagram photos of them going into the stores and doing it. It was really
It's gonna
That's
put them out
pretty
of
funny.
business.
Yeah.
All the basic white girls.
exactly.
Yeah.
Oh my
so-
god, I saw a meme about
I
that.
love
One of
a
them
good-
said, I think it was like pumpkin spice latte, the only thing a white girl can even.
Dude, people make fun of that all the time. I love
That
that.
was pretty funny.
You need. There's so many things you can make fun of with. I mean, not to be weird about it, but with white people, there's so many things you
Oh,
can
you
make
can,
fun of,
sure.
man. White
Yeah.
people do so many funny things, silly things. We have so like I know like the big one is like
White
rock
people are
climbing.
the only people you can still get away with
Yeah.
making fun of anymore. Pretty
well,
soon. You
I
know?
mean, I know like one of the big things. Dude, I mean, I love stand-up comics. I mean, I talk about it all the
Yeah,
time.
same here.
But this is one really hilarious thing where only white people like why are most of these like insane rock climbers like these free climbers, these nut jobs, why are they just like these white people who
Yeah.
just want to just do something so stupid
Looking
Yeah.
for
like
problems,
free
yeah.
climb and do all that shit? And he was dude, I was dying laughing.
Yeah, the guy free soloed
Yeah,
El
free
Capitan,
solo.
and
Yeah.
then
It's like,
the
it's
other
just crazy.
guys
Like, what are you
climbed the
doing,
Dawn Wall
man?
on El
Like,
Cap.
God,
And I
freaking
think his mentor,
more
I think, died
respect.
doing it. The
Yeah.
guy-
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I think the
anyway.
guys who are crazier than that are the ones that go do their selfies and they climb on the top of buildings and on the
Yeah,
and,
well, that's
and
like the free runners and all that. That's what
Yeah.
the parkour guys
and then they
all that
fall
stuff
off.
like that.
I've
Parkour's
seen
awesome.
there was videos.
Yeah.
This one guy he used to climb on the outside of buildings and like hand walk across the buildings and
Yeah.
stuff, and he fell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this crazy. They're nuts. I don't know why you would do that just to get popularity on a YouTube.
Like I
video.
said, it gives a lot of material for a lot of stand-up
Freaking
comedians.
comedians.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it does that too.
You
you
guys
know?
been seeing any good
Well-
ones lately or what?
Actually, there's two. There's two guys that my favorite guy who I love. I think he's the funniest
Who's
guy.
doing stand-up comedian?
Stand-up
Oh,
comedian.
okay, 'cause I
Yes,
was gonna
My-
say,
my
like,
favorite- My
Yeah.
favorite stand-up comedian right now is Jim Gaffigan, and he just came out with a new special. He has, I think he might have a thing where he does specials for Netflix. Actually, he does one every.
This
season.
one's
not
on
Netflix.
Amazon.
He did his last two were Amazon.
Okay,
Amazon.
so he just did a recent one on there, and I cannot remember talking with myself, something like that. But
yeah,
it's on
I don't know if you wanna-
Netflix.
I don't know if you want to pull that up, Brian, just to be
Yeah,
find
and
that
it's
out.
really a good
His
episode.
most recent, because he did his last two on there. It's
Yeah,
really
I do
funny.
love
He's a
Jim
great
Gaffigan.
comedian.
Yeah,
I
I
like Jim Gaffigan a
I
lot.
think
I
Jim
saw him in
Gaffigan's so
Kingston.
Oh, you saw him in college?
Yeah.
Yeah, you did,
Like
right?
3,
That's
4
right.
years ago.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, you
right.
did.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm
it's
jealous
a
that
good
you
show.
did, 'cause I
So
would have
awesome.
loved to
That's
I
see it.
love
awesome,
Jim
man.
Gaffigan.
Yeah.
And this new show is all like it's the same type of.
I didn't
Jim
get
Gaffigan.
through it. Right, that's what I'm saying.
But
you know what
it's
you're gonna
all-
get with Jim Gaffigan.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Joey
but
and I
it's-
were saying that earlier.
Yeah.
It's all new material, but it's really
Yeah.
it's
But
Quality
he finds
time.
kinda-
really fun.
Quality
time.
time.
Yeah,
There you go.
You
quality
kind of
time.
find he has that, he has a formula that's tried and true, and he kind of does follow
Yeah,
it. He has
yeah.
his 1, 2, 3 segments and his little inner voice to
Yeah, his
like,
inner
Yeah.
voice where he-
superimpose what other people are going
what
to
the
say about it.
what the audience is
Exactly.
thinking about
Right,
what
right,
he's
and that
doing.
no, I mean I never really hear anyone else doing that. So
Yeah,
Exactly. That's what I'm
So-
saying,
I
man.
mean,
No,
he
there's
does
a lot of great.
Does a whole segment
Yeah,
in
I
that
definitely love
one, where he's like doing
he's
horse
pretty
jokes and he
clean.
just keeps going
That's
with
what
the
I
horse.
was
Yeah,
telling
Joey's
Rob
tough.
before.
He
I didn't
does
get to
hilarious.
that part of
Voice.
the special yet. I should watch that later.
It's pretty funny.
Yeah,
My
man.
wife and I were just the last one
When
we
is
were
he-
watching was Sebastian Maniscalco.
He's
That's
great.
just hilarious.
Like I said, he's actually from like the same area
Yeah.
as my friends from Staten Island and all that. Yeah.
yeah, he's pretty.
very
Have you
cool,
watched
man.
him, Joe?
Who?
You-
Sebastian Maniscalco.
You
Obviously
actually
not
had
if I
no,
said
you,
who.
no. You actually, well,
I
you
thought
wouldn't.
maybe you didn't hear
You
it.
wouldn't know his
Or
name,
maybe
but
didn't
no,
know.
you actually have seen him before, though.
He's
You
Probably
actually
because
have.
of you, more than likely.
No,
right?
actually, believe it or not. So it's the funniest thing. I don't know why I have this memory, but I do. There was one time you found this clip, I guess, on Facebook, and it was a stand-up comedian, and you showed me. You called me out living room. Oh, listen to how funny this is. I saw it on Facebook, and it was really funny. But it was Sebastian Maniscalco. It was his bit about how it used to be when people came to your house and knocked
Yeah,
on your
yeah,
door when
yeah.
you were younger, when
Yeah.
you were like
Yeah.
a kid back in the 70s, and
Yeah.
how now it's like
who are
back
you?
then it was
Everyone
like
hide.
anybody knocks on you, invite them in. Hey, come on in. Oh my
Come
God,
on,
we got
sit
some
down,
cake
want
for you.
coffee?
What if we
We're
have
having
company?
dinner. You want something?
Yeah, dude.
And nowadays
pretty
it's like
funny,
someone
man.
knocks on your door and like, hide, everybody,
Everybody
hide.
hide.
Who's
Shut
at the
lights off,
door?
yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, that's him. That's Sebastian Maniscalco.
I wish life
was
that's
still
what
like
I'm talking
that.
about.
too.
I wish that too,
It's like,
man.
who's knocking at our
Dude, he
door?
had I forget which one it is because he has like 3 or 4 in the last since 2013 probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's blown up a
But,
lot.
yeah,
man.
yeah.
He,
he
is
does this,
actually really good. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
He's hilarious about how people are just like slobs all the time. He's talking about, aren't you embarrassed?
Yeah.
Yeah, they go to like he goes to like this fancy. It was probably like Caesar Palace or something. He's talking
Yeah.
about there's Italian marble and you're dressed to the nines.
Yeah.
And he turns to his left and he sees like this guy with flip flops and jacked up toes
Yeah.
standing there with his igloo cooler all duct taped. He's like, "What is wrong with you?"
It's hilarious.
He goes, "Aren't you embarrassed? They got like 10 people sleeping in a cot."
Yeah.
Yeah, no, he's funny though. I'm not doing that just, but you gotta check him out if you don't watch him.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah,
all the people that we
absolutely.
liked over the last few years. I feel like they've all been in trouble for some kind of allegation.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
that's what's unfortunate about that too, right? Because like that's what I was gonna say. Like nowadays, I feel like everybody wants to act. There's a lot of terrible things that happen and a lot of terrible things. I love stand up comedy because it's one of the few places left where you can, you can talk about certain things because everybody knows you're joking. And obviously you do still occasionally get in trouble, but for the most part, like one of the reasons why I love South Park was talking about is because like they can make fun of almost anything and everything, and it's because they have that stigma where it's like, all right, listen, it's freaking
It's
South
expected,
Park.
yeah.
It's South Park, man. Like
Right.
like chill
Yeah,
out,
they
right?
they do a lot of
And there's a lot
controversial
of-
things, man.
yeah, and
Probably
I feel like-
offends a lot of people too,
yeah.
but they're pretty.
Yeah.
Some of their skits are pretty.
And I
funny.
think stand-up comedy is a lot like that too. Like there's a lot of things that people want to be able to joke about, and like again, people have feelings, and of course, stand-up comedians are always exaggerating. That's part of it, but that's the
Right,
whole
right, of
point. It's
course.
expected, right?
I typically
And I love that. I love being able to find humor into things that sometimes I'm not super dark, but things that are like a little bit okay. Maybe they're
Yeah.
a little racy or a little bit.
I liked
whatever.
yeah, there's definitely a line there.
Yeah.
Like you have now of course I'm gonna go into a stroke and not be able to remember names.
Yeah.
Anthony Jeselnik.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he deadpan one line deliveries.
Yes.
Some of his stuff is funny, but like I think he just like relies too much on like just
Controversial
like blue
stuff.
comedy or just
Oh,
like
yeah.
abortion joke. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
exactly.
like,
I don't love
prefer
him.
going that way. I
Yeah.
prefer the guys that are more family friendly, cleaner type.
You do, yeah.
comedians.
Yeah.
I don't
You-
really like the
you
guys who
always
are
have,
cursing
too.
And are really,
But I mean,
Yeah.
and like my other guy is Jeff Dunham. He's a ventriloquist
Oh, yeah,
comedian,
Jeff
and
Dunham.
I,
Yep.
and
He's
I
okay.
love watching him with his different character
Yeah,
dummies, and they're a lot of fun. I know you don't like him.
I'm not a big
I
fan.
find
of
When
him,
I was younger,
I
I
find
liked
him
him.
very
Yeah.
funny.
So
Yeah.
you probably like Brian Regan, I would guess.
You've
maybe.
seen
Brian
again.
Regan's great.
Brian
He's funny,
Regan's
he's
great.
clean.
He's very
check-
funny.
I'll
Yeah,
have to check him out
you
then.
would like again. I think you probably have seen him before. He's really good. There's that
Alright.
other guy.
Boxing Meeson Moosin. You never
What's the
seen
guy?
him?
The guy who's crazy. He has like sort of crazy eyes, and he yells and screams on stage. And Jim Brewer.
Oh, Jim
Brewer. You've
Go
seen
boy.
before.
I
Jim
saw
Brewer,
him live at
yeah.
Bananas.
Oh, you did really?
Yeah, way back
That's
when, yeah.
awesome. Jim Brewer, you've seen you watched the
okay.
special. He was the one who did the whole special on like the bit on when you go to Six Flags Great Adventure, you go on the safari. Remember? You probably don't remember, but you saw it. You again. You're the one who showed me that bit. I guess you had found it on Facebook.
Yeah,
but
all right.
he's good. But like for me, like I've talked about it on the podcast before. Like my favorite comedian is Dave Chappelle. I think that again, he's known for he just got in trouble on his last
He's
special
good,
for
too.
talking about a
We-
lot of
and we mentioned it
controversial
to him.
things.
We mentioned to him on the
And
about
but
it.
I think that there are things that are really funny because I think that he's a master class comedian and he knows how to craft these jokes well. And yes, some of them are definitely, I guess, could be considered offensive, but what I love about Dave Chappelle is that he always goes ahead and explains the fact that, like he crafts these jokes in a way that he knows are funny and in a way that he can explain why he thinks this way and why he thinks the way that he does. And then he always explains himself and his personal feelings. One of my other favorite comedians is Joe Rogan. I like his podcast more than I do his stand-up comedy. But again, he's a guy who talks about all kinds of different things, and some of the things are fairly controversial topics. But
Yeah, I mean, if it was all
I think it's
humdrum, what
good,
the hell
man.
to listen
That's
to?
exactly,
Yeah.
exactly.
And you got, that's what's great about stand-up. So you got something for everybody's flavor, you know?
Yeah,
There's some
exactly.
like,
Yeah.
like Jerry Seinfeld's very classically, he's funny, observationalist, you
Yeah.
know, but some of his stuff's a little dry or whatever. Whereas like Greg Giraldo, love Greg Giraldo.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedians of all time. He does some racist stuff. Racy
racy
stuff.
Racy
sorry.
stuff. Yeah.
Correction.
Yeah.
Racy things. You
Yeah.
know, well, I mean, but he's pretty tame compared to some of these people.
Yeah, no, there's some
Fortunately,
guys
He's
that
been
like are a little
dead
bit
almost
too
a
much.
decade already. That was
Yeah,
sad. That
very
was pretty sad.
Unfortunately.
What's his name? Does comedy. He used to do comedy with him. He does that Up All Night show. David Tell.
Oh yeah.
He's very funny, but
Yeah, he's-
definitely says some.
Again, off
some
off
things.
the rails sometimes. But listen, man, I mean, I don't know. That's my kind of comedy, just because I
Right.
think that it's important to be able to have these kind of discussions, even if you're joking, even when you're telling it as a joke.
What do you guys
I think
think of
it's-
like?
three of my favorite comics are
Yeah.
on the Loose Related podcast.
There we go.
Oh,
There we
okay.
go. Exactly.
You know,
Yep.
The three of my favorite. I think they all got pretty good personalities. You know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
we have we have a young guy, we got an old guy, we got a middle balding guy, and they're all quips and they're funny. So yeah, I mean, check them out. They're pretty cool.
I
They're funny.
agree.
Yeah, they're
It's
coming
good,
live to YouTube.
They're coming live to YouTube.
They'll be
yeah,
coming. They'll be coming to a town near you.
Definitely will be. But yeah, man. I mean, I think it's cool. I think it's something I look forward to.
Y'all ever heard about like people talk about comedians when they go to college campuses and that whole thing?
Oh,
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I've definitely seen a few. Like, I mean, it depends on what college campus I guess you're talking about,
So
right?
like I did stand up at my college campus.
you did, bro?
You actually did stand up.
Yeah.
Whoa, what the
there
hell?
was there was a
Nice.
stand up comedy
Loosely
club.
Related comedy spot.
But
There you
I
go.
do have to say, while like I didn't have the best material, like I did notice like in other comics that there wasn't, I don't want to say tension or fear when people were on stage, but it felt safe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't think that should be present in comedy. Like I
Right,
think
yeah,
the point of
exactly.
comedy is to push boundaries,
Yeah.
but not obviously not too far. But
Yeah,
I
right.
mean, yeah,
Depending
it
on
just
your
felt
audience, I
very
suppose,
And as
yeah.
long as
tense
it's
and
within
censored.
yourself, right?
What's up?
Exactly.
I think it's important that it's within their, you know what I'm saying, within their self or whatever. You know, like, I would equate it to this, like, Billy Joel is one of my favorite artists of all time.
Yeah.
Not a great singer in any
Yeah,
way, shape,
yeah.
or form.
Yeah, true.
But is great within his area.
Yeah, right,
He's not going to
exactly.
start hitting notes that,
Yeah.
like,
Adele can hit, or
right,
like
or something
whatever,
like
yeah.
that, right?
But
But
the guy from Journey, yeah.
but
whatever,
they all
doesn't
have their
matter.
own
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
Same thing with comedians, like
Right.
Ellen DeGeneres has her type of comedy. It's
Yeah,
certainly not the
exactly.
same as Amy Schumer.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I
Exactly.
mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
sure,
Right.
sure,
Which
sure.
kind of like I had to ask this real quick. I know I probably shouldn't even do this.
Yeah. Right.
But what do you guys think of female comedians?
So it's
I don't
that's
watch
interesting thing. My dad is not really a big stand-up comic guy in general. I feel like, but I know for me personally, I love stand-up comedy. So this is my whole thing. There's a lot of female comedians that I do like, and I always get made fun of like, oh, you don't like any female comedians. Like, no, I don't mention that many because unfortunately, my whole thing is this: I don't like vulgar comedians at all, whether they're a male or a female. Like, there's a lot of comedians who I will not watch because they're just vulgar, like just like gross stuff, like talking too much about like sex in gross ways. I'm not a prude, but when you're talking about like really inappropriate,
Give him
like
a few
graphic
drinks, he's
sexual
definitely not a
drugs.
prude.
Yeah,
you know.
it seems like they can.
But
be-
anyway, but there's a lot of female comics that I love. Like I know
Jeez.
Kathleen Madigan is one of them.
Oh,
like
Kathleen
she's
Madigan.
she
I
is
saw her
so
too.
freaking funny. Did you really?
She's bananas.
Dude,
also.
she's
They've
really
all
funny.
when she
Dude,
was in a play.
and like Sarah Silverman, like she has some bits where I have
Right.
watched that are just have made me cry laughing. Like they
Yeah.
are so freaking funny.
and then she has the
yeah,
other
and then
side of-
but then she gets into that like really
raunchy
vulgar
kind of
stuff.
stuff.
I
Yeah.
think I do feel. I know I'm going to get scores of people who are going to hate on me now.
Yeah,
I think they're every bit as talented. I don't know if they're cornered into something. You
yeah,
know, like
right. Yes,
there's that
That's what I would
stereotype.
say.
You know, they're kind of pigeonholed maybe.
Yeah.
But a lot of them definitely seem to crutch on the like
The
overly
vulgar-
sexual.
The
overly
sex stuff,
sexual-
yeah.
Yeah.
sex stuff,
Or
yeah.
even look at the titles like Whitney Cummings. She's
Yes.
pretty funny. I think one of her
She is.
one of her stand-up specials was called Money Shot.
Yeah.
What do you think that
yeah,
is?
exactly.
Yeah,
And
right.
she's dressed to the nines with a tight dress on,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you know,
yeah.
and a lot of them will do, and they make fun of that stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm
they
not
do.
saying there's not guys who are, of course there
Yeah,
are,
That's
right.
what I'm saying.
but
yeah,
it just seems to be like a crutch a lot of them. I'm looking through some of them now, like Sarah Silverman. Yeah, she does that sometimes. Amy
Yeah.
Schumer always does that.
I don't like Amy Schumer at all. I don't like her. just
Whitney
in
Sykes,
general.
Wanda Sykes, I do like. She's
Okay.
funny. Chelsea Handler, same thing.
Yeah.
Whitney Cummings, same thing. Kathy
Yeah.
Griffin, same thing. Unfortunately,
It would
Yeah,
be like if you
Lisa
went
Sh-
on to a show and watched someone like a guy just do dick jokes for
That's
an hour.
exactly.
Right,
that's
right,
what I'm
right.
saying. Exactly.
I wouldn't want to watch that.
I
Right.
wouldn't either.
No.
Yes,
No.
Ryan, that's a good way to put
That's
it.
what I'm
Because that's what
saying.
I'm trying to say. I don't want to watch any of that crap. I want to watch somebody who's like just genuinely like originally funny, who tells like I mean my favorite kind of comedians. If I had to put a name on it, like it was like I love a comedian who like tells stories. Like
Mike Birbiglia
like
or
well, like
something.
even Louis C.K. Like I know it's controversial just to mention his name on a podcast, but like Louis C.K. Some of my favorite bits ever are when he tells his stories. Like when he has that story I've showed you before when he went to like his country house with his kids and he heard a noise in the kitchen.
the
He thought
thing.
it was
What
a
the hell
witch.
is it? Yeah,
That's
yeah,
one of my favorite bits ever when he just tells these hilarious stories. And
pretty
it's
funny,
like
man.
that's like Kathleen Manigan does that, and it's really freaking funny. Sarah Silverman has done that in the past, and that's freaking hilarious. But there's a lot
Right,
of
they're both
really funny
talented.
bits, yeah.
Some of them, and some of you get the comedians sometimes that maybe weren't great at stand up, but they're wonderful in movies and they're super funny. Like
Yeah.
I love both Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. I
Oh,
think they're
hell
both
yeah.
hilarious.
Yes.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah,
mean? I think
And
they're
I think they
super
work
talented.
so
Yes,
well
agreed,
together too,
agreed.
when they're in movies
100%,
together.
man.
That they're like the pack.
Yeah.
What do they call them? The Rat Pack of
The Rat Pack, yeah, I like
of
that
the-
whole group.
the women,
The
you
Kristen
know?
Wiig
Didn't
and the
they
Maya
do that?
Rudolph and all
Didn't they
them.
do the Ocean's
Oh,
13?
she's hilarious.
Ocean's
No,
thing?
that was not them.
It wasn't them.
Oh,
I
yeah.
thought,
That was
I
with
thought-
Sandra Bullock.
Yeah, that
and-
was a whole different
Okay, a
group.
different
yeah.
group. Yeah, so they're trying to like.
But
correct
anyway,
them, but
yeah,
yeah, it's neat, you know.
it's
pretty
something.
cool.
Yeah, I think that I think that what Rob said is true. It feels like they're pigeonholed, and it's unfortunate because I think that so many of them have the talent. They're amazingly
Right, I mean,
talented.
maybe they do it because
Yeah.
guys are dirty.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They're
Right.
only going
Yeah.
to come. Maybe they feel like they only come out if they're seductive or
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, some of the
Maybe.
if I'm going to refer to any guys, aren't one of them's not alive anymore, but one of them was Richard Pryor. I love
Yeah.
some of his acts;
Yeah.
were pretty funny,
yeah,
and also Eddie Murphy.
yeah, but even like Eddie Murphy had some.
He
bits
just made a
that
big
got
sign,
got
right?
really
Did
rolling.
he,
Yeah.
were you
He
telling me
did.
that recently, Joey? He made
So
a big sign.
yeah, so Eddie Murphy's coming back to stand-up comedy now. He signed with Netflix to do like 2 or 3 specials, so that's
Yeah.
gonna be pretty cool. Look forward to
So
that.
that should be hopefully it'll be good.
Yeah,
you know.
I hope so. But yeah,
So
man.
man. So you know, who are your favorite comics? You know, we'd like to hear from you. If you want to leave us, you know, information,
Yeah.
drop us a line at our looselyrelatedpodcast.com.
Absolutely.
Send us send us an email at looselyrelatedpodcast.
Or just comment.
Just
comment, leave a comment
Please
below.
comment. Let us know.
Definitely.
And we have our on the 31st. We will have our Halloween episode.
Look for that on Halloween.
And we'd like to get your interactions with that
On
too.
Halloween.
Show us pictures of your costumes you're planning on wearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
put
let's
them on
go.
our
Vote.
Instagram, right?
We'll
yeah,
take
you
a
can
poll up
you can
and,
email it to us if you want. You can
email
DM us on Instagram or on Twitter if you want. You know, that sounds good.
So there's plenty of
Wouldn't mind
things. So
doing that.
we need your interactions, and you know, we do with this for you guys out there. So you know, let us know. We want to know ideas for our show, things like that. So.
Yeah.
So you can reach us at looselyrelatedpodcast.com. I think I said that already.
Yeah.
You want to
Basically.
take us? You want to
That's
take us
all right.
out, Joe, with the different stuff?
I'll throw it out there real quick.
Yeah.
You know, so once again, it's you can find us at looselyrelatedpodcast.com.
Yes, you can.
You can find us on Twitter at LRPodcast. That's
That too.
POCASTS. You can find us on Instagram at loosely_related. You can also find our podcast on Apple Podcasts, Google Play Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and you can also watch us on YouTube.
Definitely watch us
You
and
definitely
like and
can. And then
subscribe and
yeah.
hit the notification bell.
Definitely do that
And we'll see you on Thursday.
on Thursday. Take care, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.